everybody. Welcome to episode 129 of Games My Mom Found. And who's What Are You Buying with me tonight?
Hi, my name's Nick Pelayo.
Welcome back.
I am Blake Anglin.
And welcome for the first time.
Thanks for having me.
And returning once again, I think this is either my third or fourth one that I'm doing. It is Cody, Swampborn, House Laveau, professional animal wrangler, warden of the Riverlands, bender of limbs, winter soldier, gentleman adventurer, former handsomest man, 2018, breaker of hearts, treasure hunter, friend to every animal on the planet Earth, and of course, father of Grovers. Yes, it is the Cajun Crippler, the Acadian Nightmare, the Crescent City Saint, your one and only Cody Laveau.
No ostrich lover in there?
Oh, that is classified.
I still love that time.
What an intro.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why he went last. Because I knew what was coming. Yeah, this is your fourth time on here.
Oh, yeah, fourth time. Let's see. We did Dead Space. We did Alice in Wonderland. And then we did... and then
Snake
what
Eater.
was... Oh, dude, I love that game. Awesome.
Such a good game.
I love Snake Eater.
All right, and before we get too far, one quick thing I do want to say. If you're hearing this around the time it comes out, we still have the Patreon poll that we're doing for our first pilot test episode. So you can throw as little as $1. You log on to our Patreon. You'll see a link in the show notes. You can vote in the poll and decide what the first episode of pilot test is going to be, where we review a pilot. We have 4 options, so definitely go ahead over there because you have till July 4th when I'm going to close the poll and then go whatever we have. So by the time you're hearing this, we'll be a few days away from that. So
And wait, what's your name again?
did I not say my name today?
No. What's your name?
I am Mike Albertin. Wow. I think after doing this over 130 times? Oh, okay.
Mike.
Okay, that was funny. I did not see that coming.
Thank you.
And we
video
are
game
here.
person.
Oh, actually, Cody, do you have anything to plug?
I am on YouTube under my own name, Cody Laveau. I have a movie that I am currently doing the edits for about Las Vegas. So just check out my name on there, and you can't help but find it.
All right, and you will see a link in the show notes for that. And I want to introduce what we're going to be talking about tonight. We are talking about Resident Evil 4 from 2005 for GameCube, made by Capcom. So I guess for not having my wiki open right away.
The 2005 classic.
Was this ever ported anywhere else? Because I feel like there's not enough versions of this.
It came to the Apple Watch, and that's the only other thing it's ever been on, I believe.
I think you can now play this thing on Leapfrog, Smart Fridge,
LARP.
Graphing Calculator.
You know, I would not be surprised. I mean, it actually is on GameCube, PS2, Windows, Wii, iOS, whatever the hell Zeeble is, PS3, 360, Android, PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Oculus Quest 2.
Probably only beaten by Dragon's Lair and possibly Tetris, I would think. I would guess are the only two. Skyrim's trying...
Yeah.
Skyrim's trying to catch up with it, but dude, there is no excuse not to find this game somewhere.
No,
It's available.
Oh yeah, I've beaten this game on 5 different systems at this point. So, first I should ask, what system do we all play this game on for this playthrough? I played on PS4, New Game Plus, because I was lazy.
I got lucky. It was on sale on Xbox, so I picked it up on my Series X.
What did we play it on, last time?
Yeah, for this playthrough. I know you guys joined later, so you might not played it again right before the show.
So I played it on a Wii.
Which I've heard is the best version of that.
Definitive version of this game.
The thing is, you're not really wrong. I played on the Wii before, too. It actually works well with the whole Wii controls.
It works well, but that for a Wii controller doesn't mean that it works well as
Relatively speaking.
Relatively speaking.
Has everyone played the original, the GameCube original here?
I played the PS2 original.
I own that version, but I've never actually beaten the version that came out in, 05. And for this round, I played the 2014 Steam version of that game.
Okay. Every version after GameCube is pretty much just the PS2 version at that point, which has some of the extra stuff that we might talk about, we'll see. And I don't think there's any big differences otherwise. I don't think
there
too
is
much was
one.
changed. Oh, what's that?
There is. The original GameCube version has a glitch that allows Ashley to suplex the Ganados. And they removed that, so took away the best part of the game, unfortunately.
Suplex City.
Suplex City. That's only in the GameCube version.
Huh. All the times I played this game, it's been a lot, I've never known that.
You have to slam them with a door as Ashley, and if you kick the door in while they're stumbling, you can hit them with the suplex.
Serious belly suplex action with that. Ashley's got like a ton of core strength to pull that off too.
She works out.
She needs to work out. She's carrying a lot of
Brock Lesnar. That is some Brock Lesnar strength right there.
She gets it.
So this game, for those that don't know, is the fourth Resident Evil game. Sort of. We'll go with that. There's more than that. But it takes place 6 years after what happened in Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, so all the Raccoon City incident. Umbrella has failed, and they're gone, supposedly. And that's kind of where this game takes off. And the big thing about this game is that this was the big change in the series. For anyone that's been a fan of the series later on, 5, 6, where you get the much more action-y titles. And this was the beginning of this. And I know a lot of people were upset when this game came out because it wasn't your classic horror-style game. It wasn't what Resident Evil was known for at that time with 1, 2, and 3 and Code Veronica, which is what I consider the real 3, but that's neither here nor there. That this game, changes. And I think it changed for the better.
Absolutely. This is a good game.
I like 1, 2, and 3 a lot. So.
Right
So it's interesting to think what could have been. Development began in late 99 to early 2000, and what started off as Resident Evil 4 eventually became Devil May Cry, and then they started off a new branch for what we know as Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, I think it's fairly well known that this thing went through 3 or 4 different versions up until they got the over-the-shoulder sort of wild whatever this was that is totally different from what the 3, 4, 5 games that came prior to this, right?
Yeah, there's the Fog version, Hookman version, Hallucination version, and the final version.
There it is, yeah.
Yeah, some of the early videos where he's like walking around what seemed to be like a castle at night seemed really cool. But thankfully we got the spooky village, which is...
And I think one of those versions had like evil dolls, which they sat on for a very long time, up until this year with Village. And you had like the weird dollhouse. I think they've been sitting on that since like 2003. Just waiting.
Kept that in the back pocket.
Just waiting to put dolls in there.
I'm glad there's no dolls in this game. I don't like dolls. They creep me out.
Salazar seems like the kind of guy who might collect dolls.
Have you played Village yet?
No.
Dude, I thought dolls were the worst part of what that section was going to be, and I'm not going to spoil it, but there's, yikes. Scariest thing that has ever happened in that series happens in that dollhouse.
Mama.
Someday I'll get around to 8. One day. I do want to play it, but I don't play anything when it comes out, so.
Hey, just like me.
Same.
I can't with this show. It's too hard. I'm too damn busy. I have like a history with this game. I have one of my bigger regrets in life involves this game. So early on with this game, when it got announced and it was first at my local EB Games, I actually went over. The only reason I reserved this game because the guy at the store, they had the cardboard cutout for Resident Evil 4, and nobody had claimed it yet. So I'm like, okay, I'll reserve the game, get the free demo disc, so I can put my name on the back of the cardboard to take home the cardboard. And when the game released, some of that time after that, I was able to actually take home that cardboard cutout of Leon from the promotional thing. And my biggest regret is I brought that home to my parents' house, and then over the years when I did move, before I had a chance to come back, it got water damaged. I think it got peed on by a cat. When it got water damaged, and I had to throw it away, and that's still one of my regrets. Because I have the room now. Like, I could put it in my basement, but it doesn't exist anymore.
Leon's only weakness, cat pee. Little known fact.
I have to tell that story. Because it's not very often I get to do it. But the demo is what exposed me to this game. And the demo is the first section with the village where you get to, that first section where you fight the chainsaw guy, and that was all in the original demo that they released, which at the time there was no download demos. You just got it on a freaking little GameCube case.
It's one of the all-time great intros in a game, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I would say one of the best. What is that? First 15 minutes ever put in a game.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah, it does so much by setting you up for the entire story, but also treating its audience like they're smart people. Like, it gives you these little instruction booklets, and that's kind of it. And it says, you go out there, you die, and then come back and try again and see what you can figure out.
It is very much like the end of an era in that you could look up what the controls were, but it didn't really want to like hold your hand for anything. I mean, there's some prompts, but I mean, they don't spend the first hour of that game where they'll like slowly, like teach you how to do stuff. It's like you can use the knife from the start, but you got to figure out how to use that knife.
Yeah, it felt immersive in a way that few games before had really done so.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say this is the first game that lets you target third person the way it does with the laser sighting. Then you lock onto enemies, lets you target like a leg or a head. I want to say this is the first game. I don't think any game before this had done that.
Win back for the N64.
Oh God, that game. Okay.
Yes. This is maybe the first good game that ever did that. But I know like when that came out, and I played Win Back from maybe a year after it came out, and it was unlike anything else, and it didn't work very well. But playing 4 later, I think I was the only person alive who went, "Oh, this is just like Win Back." Come on, you guys all know Win Back, right?
I do remember Win Back, actually.
I don't know what a Nintendo 64 is.
That's not a bad thing, if you weren't kidding. I never played Win Back, but I know of it.
Yeah, I'm probably wrong, but I think that was the first game that ever did the over-the-shoulder third person thing. But I think this was definitely the first big mainstream one that definitely did it right and everybody played. Because if it wasn't for this, I feel like we wouldn't have like Gears of War, Mass Effect, any of the really cool stuff that came on after, like right
Dead
after.
Space seems like a direct continuation of this, basically. It's hard to imagine one without the other.
When we talked about this game, Dead Space was supposed to be a sequel to System Shock 2, and then they played this game and they loved it so much that they turned it into its own thing and sort of made it RE4 in space.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, you would not have Dead Space if it weren't for this game, literally.
One thing like interesting about that whole village scene is that it can play out differently. If you don't go into that one house, you never have to deal with the chainsaw guy. Like I've done it where I've just ran around and avoided the shotgun, avoided him, and just picked off other people.
So I wanted to get a newcomer's perspective, so I let my fiance play it, who's not much of a gamer. It was her first time, and she got absolutely mauled by Chainsaw Guy without ever finding a shotgun, straight out of the bat.
Well, he didn't spawn until she went in the house, right?
No, she never once stepped foot in the house. It was pretty impressive, actually.
Oh, he still spawns?
Yeah, he's
absolutely.
there from the beginning. I played it on the PS4 about a year ago, and if you don't go into the house, the chainsaw guy is still there. He's just roaming around. I think might be a little bit farther back, but you can hear the chainsaw immediately.
Oh,
yes.
I didn't. Okay, then I'm wrong because I thought I didn't spawn him before, and I've done this part.
I thought so too.
It may be
confession time, because this seems like a great time to bring this up as any time, because you were saying you wanted something fresh. This is the first time that not only I finished this game, this was the first time I played this game for more than half an hour. So I basically played this game fresh for the first time in 2021. And I started with 2 again for the N64. I then played like 5, 7, 3, 2 make, 3 make. I basically played everything but this up until this point. I beat Village before I beat Resident Evil 4. And then I got a bunch of references in Village because of this. In fact, I agreed to be on this because I knew it would be the excuse to finally finish this, which is like the biggest spot in my like whole backlog. So
yeah, it's a good one to fill in if you've never played it. Absolutely,
especially playing like every other game but this one somehow.
So do you feel it holds up? You know, in 2021 as like a newcomer to it?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I think I definitely see a lot of flaws in it that people with the nostalgia for it like don't have. But dude, it is incredibly solid. It's other than the controls for it. I played it on my Xbox One controller, just plugged into the PC. But so I mean, it played really well, if not just a little bit stiff. But other than that, super playable.
Yes, some quality of life changes that it could use, but otherwise, I thought just still a fantastic game even now.
Like I honestly wish I could take the controls from 5 that I felt were a little more tightened up and put them into this game.
Does 5 have hot swapping? I think that's the biggest miss, right?
Is that you had to go back into the menu just to swap out your gun, which I don't remember if 5 had that or not. I
don't think 5 does.
No. Okay. Although I am also one of the few freaks that loves 5.
5's a good game.
Absolutely,
5's a great game.
I've got 5 queued up now. I'm gonna dive right in after this podcast, I think.
Ending for that game, I still think is the best ending to any RE game ever. Which the bar is a little bit low because most of the final bosses for these games kind of suck. But that final fight with Wesker is just chef's kiss of 5.
I'll always remember just the boulder punching scene.
Oh yeah,
into 5. But I think sticks with me more than anything. Such a classic scene.
Which folks clowned on that, but 4 had so much just amazing cheese to it.
4 is so silly.
Yeah, which is just amazing. So like I don't get how somebody could say that punching the giant rock in 5 is somehow like we're jumping the shark when like there's like a 4 foot tall Spanish guy in like a 3-cornered hat that turns into a giant room monster. But punching a rock is just too far out of left.
Also has a giant stone titan that comes to life and is like this.
That you have to quick time away from.
It's a beautiful progression from all this to the boulder punching. Absolutely. The quick time events.
But Leon takes everything so seriously, which just gives I think Leon is very dumb, but he's so earnest and he knows he can shoot a gun well that he just kind of fumbles his way through life. And so everything just seems so darn honest to him, and he wants to try so hard. Chris, I think he's just dumb.
Not the brightest, but Leon just has repartee with everyone. It's amazing.
He has some really good one-liners in this.
He has some zingers for sure.
It's that yee ass haircut.
I love
Nick
Leon
Carter
in this game.
in to save the day.
That's 2005 as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think in RE he's probably my favorite protagonist, but this is the game that, because I never really played 2, not then at least, but so this game's what made me really like that character so much.
Well, he's kind of a cipher in 2, so it feels like this is where his personality comes a little more into play.
And there's actually a lot more story to this game than I realized, because I read the notes, but before we did this episode, I've been watching a bunch of videos to make more sense of the story. Because I never really completely understood all of the connections of what was happening in the background of the game.
It's a lot to take in.
It's a lot more than I thought it was.
Yeah.
But like the whole village had already been there before, and the whole idea that the lost Luminados were a myth that was told to them, passed down by generation, and that's where all that comes from. That's why you go through the town, you see all this stuff, because it had been something that they knew of, but then they were all indoctrinated into religion, not really completely by choice, because the chieftain had been brought into it. And that church that you first go in, the church that you go into where Salazar is, apparently was the church that Chief Mendez was the head of before he became the head of the town.
Oh.
The stuff I didn't know. But we didn't really talk about the gameplay too much. So it's a third-person camera, over the shoulder. You can't move, but you can aim and shoot. And depending on how you shoot the enemies is how they affect. If you shoot them in the face, they stun, you can kick them in the face. If you shoot their knees and they stumble, you can suplex them or kick them, which then will stun other enemies. And I think that's what makes this game so interesting. And I want to say, does this game have an adaptive difficulty?
It does. I don't think it's ever been confirmed, but it seems to be pretty widespread knowledge that it does. And I believe, that it does, just kind of watching it too.
Well, just the way that I was getting no ammo in this game later. It wouldn't drop ammo for me at all. Well, as I said, I did play this on New Game Plus because I just didn't feel like going through the game again normally without better weapons, which became a handicap near the end of the game when they stopped giving me ammo. I didn't get any ammo later in drops at all later.
It was tight for me near the end of the game too. And I'm a knife everything, just try to conserve ammo as much as possible, and was still running low.
Oh, I just shoot everything. I unload so often.
I'm a hoarder.
Yeah, no, I definitely, yeah. Well, and I think I carried one of each gun, which I guess people don't actually do that or aren't supposed to do that, because I like the Red 9, the TMP, Mine Thrower, Striker, semi-auto rifle, all in the same loadout.
Should we talk loadouts? That's an interesting way. Just strap everything on you and go.
Yeah, which is what I did. So, and I threw the grenades pretty much as soon as I would get them, because I wouldn't have room for anything else if I didn't, because I only had like 10 free slots holding all of the guns.
I feel like there's two types of people. There's people who use their grenades and people who sell their grenades.
I sell in this playthrough, I sold every single one because I didn't need them. When I play the new game, I keep them and use them.
Yeah.
I'm a grenade user. I alphabetize and color, organize my grenades in my attach case. But I love the grenades because you can just channel people into like a narrow hallway and then bam,
grenades up and
you're just done.
Just chuck them and then you're done. And it's so satisfying to just watch them all like catch on fire or blow up. It's beautiful.
Yeah, there's some great bottleneck cheeses in this game that's just so fun to exploit.
Yeah.
And I love the fact, like, we talked earlier about the chainsaw, all the instant death. Like, the first time that when you're playing this game and you got to see the chainsaw guy, and he just kills you instantly if he gets to you.
Just lops that head clean off.
Amazing. The first time it happens.
I think the Chainsaw Man was like my first rage quit in a game as like a 14-year-old, because I didn't understand what was happening. No one told me this was going to happen. And then it happened like 3 times in a row. And I just couldn't do it.
No, that was my that was my first experience with this game. I was a freshman in college, and they were playing this game in the dorms, and they handed it off to me, and I played for again like 10-15 minutes. That village scene happens. Dr. Salvatore runs out, lops off my head, and I'm like, screw this, man. I'm gonna go back to like playing Smash Brothers or something, and then I didn't play it for another 3 or 4 years. So that was the first time I didn't finish this game, and it was specifically because of that Chainsaw Man in the first 15 minutes.
It's a challenge with him.
Oh yeah, it was great watching my fiance, a non-gamer, just struggle with that for a solid 2 hours. And I feel like that's what makes me think the dynamic difficulty is so real, is because about her 10th try, she just shoots 3 or 4 zombies and then the bell rings. They're just like, fuck it, we're moving on.
Okay, that is fast then, because it's
mercy rule. Yeah,
we got shit to do.
I know it's based on time or how many enemies you kill, whatever happens first.
Interesting.
Because I know I've done Chicago Typewriter where it's been over like a minute, seconds.
Yeah.
I just unload and take out everybody. So
yeah,
I was always curious about that. What triggers that?
But that's what I think I love about this game, is that this game also keeps everything going. Like, after that first initial scene in the village of the Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw guy, Dr. Salvador, things start to quiet down, and you just have a couple parts where you go through some areas, you fight a few guys, you even see guys just walking around, just, throwing hay. They're not even bothering you at first until you start picking a fight, which I do immediately because I know this game.
Yeah.
And I love
guys.
I love the fact that like the Ganados, think they're what they're called.
Yeah,
Ganados.
Okay.
Ganados.
And as I was doing research for this video, there's actually different plagas that affect different people. Like apparently the plagas that like Krauser and Salazar and all the main villains have is I think it's called
dominant strain.
Yes, I never knew that. I was always wondering why they had effects until all the other people were just idiots.
Yeah, it's why they can keep their kind of personality aspect, not turn into mindless, not zombies.
And it's early in this game where you have that first scene where you won't even see Ada depending on how you play this game. You go into a room, you get choked by Mendez, and this is when he chokes you and he sees that you have the same blood, or he sees that you have the Lost Plagas inside you. You already been infected because earlier in the game you got knocked out in the end of the first chapter. And depending if you just keep going the game, you won't see it. But if you turn backwards and go back into the room, he'll start choking you again, and then Ada will shoot him through the window, and you'll see her red dress.
Harder, Daddy.
I never knew that. That's pretty great.
Yeah, and that was actually one of the first scenes, I want to say probably Game Informer had in the magazine, where before the game came out, they were advertising the scene. They're like, "Oh, is this Ada? Who could this be? Why is she wearing the exact same outfit from 2? Who knows?" But that was the first initial people showing that she was in this game.
And that was just such a cool scene because I missed that scene 3 times on all of my playthroughs. And I think by accident, I found that scene. I was like, whoa, I never even knew it was here. And no one really ever talked about it. And then I talked to my friends. They didn't know about it either. And so it's just the game never really hold your hand to do anything. They let you find out information about the game at your own leisure and just treats you with respect.
Like if you don't rescue the dog in the very initial area, the dog won't help you when you're fighting El Gigante for the first time.
Exactly. There's no hint telling like, hey, help this dog. It's just like, hey, there's a dog here.
Yeah, just context clues.
Yeah.
Like that.
There's the dog.
No, I have to leave that in. But I love those little touches about this game. Like, so Cody, I have a question for you. Did you shoot any of the crows when you saw them?
Yes, but mostly because when I play games, I just try to do everything that just to see if it will happen, and I don't like to use guides unless I'm just absolutely stuck. So yeah, I like shot the crows, and sure enough, they had like money and bullets. So I don't know what the crows are expecting to go down or what's going on with that. Although I guess crows are drawn to very shiny things, so that actually might make more sense why they would have those. You know what? You know what? Game smart. So that's why the birds, because they like shiny things. You know. But like I did go back into that room because at the end of that cutscene, when Rasputin, right but because he once he's done stepping on your throat, he turns around and goes back in the room that you just came out. So my first thought was, I wonder if I go back in this room, if he'll be in there. And sure enough, he definitely was. I also shot the water with the big fish. I wasn't expecting that, and just instantly died. So I think I found a lot of secrets just by accident. I shot Luis, and then he murdered me. So I'm like, that's a thing that can happen.
I've never done that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you're in the cabin and you like shoot him 3 or 4 times, he will get pissed off, and then he'll be like, adios, Leon, and then he just like murders you.
Death.
So I do that constantly. I see, hey, can I run out of bounds here? What would happen if? And this game showed me more of that than I expected it to do. It was a lot like Snake Eater in that way, where there's a lot of hidden stuff that you could never see if you just didn't try it out. And I really, really dug it because it catered to people like me that like to mess around within a game, you know.
Like my first time playing this game, I didn't know you could break the barrels that are all over the place.
Oh my God! Well, then no wonder you wouldn't have any ammo, right?
No, not this playthrough. This is long time ago. I knew you could break the crates, but I didn't know you could break the vases, break the barrels. Like now, I break everything I see, and that's the only reason I had ammo, because the enemies wouldn't drop any.
Right.
This game is so good about playing with your expectations too, because as soon as you get comfortable breaking barrels, they'll put like a snake in one, you know, just to catch you off guard. This game is so good at that.
I knew which ones had snakes in before I opened them. I just knew exactly which one to do the knife to. I
use the knife anyway. It's my infinite goal of ammo hoarding. Use the knife on anything possible.
Well, I use it all for the crates, but I know exactly which crates are going to have snakes now, because I played this game like 10 times.
Yeah.
Which
those snakes carried chicken eggs for some weird reason. I'm not sure why or how they would be carrying that.
They swallowed the egg hole.
Nah, but then
the golden chicken eggs that are laying everywhere.
All over Spain, you know, as we all know.
Oh, you can get killed by the cow, though. By the way.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Really? If you knife the cow from behind him and you do it, I don't remember how many times, but I know I've done it and he's kicked me before. I'm pretty sure I'm not. I'm remembering correctly. I've been hit by that cow.
Do you get anything from the cow if you kill it?
No, I knifed it this playthrough.
Because I lit those cows up and I didn't get anything. Oh, and I believe those snakes are either I would say they're probably asp vipers, depending on where they are in Spain, because that's why you have an animal guy on your podcast is to let you know what fake venomous snake is in whatever fake part of Spain this is. But yeah, this is southern Spain. That's probably in, I mean, it could be a false smooth, but I'm pretty sure that's an asp viper. I would put money on that because it's definitely venomous, but not too venomous.
And that's another thing. I love the game's setting. I love the fact that you're in Spain, that you start off in some kind of rural village running around. And And the game has 2 great areas out of the 3, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
The Village, I think, is a very good job of just giving you new experiences, teaching you how the game plays. You're never really overwhelmed too terribly. There are a couple parts that are a little tough during the Village. Like there's the one part, I still hate this boss. You fight the giant salamander in the water, which you're on a boat and you're throwing hooks at it. I have always hated this fight, and I will always hate this fight.
It's my least favorite boss fight in the game, I think.
Afraid of water, or just don't like the fight itself?
It's just an annoying fight to me.
Yeah, you lose a lot of your agency with your weapons, and I never feel like I'm in control of that boat, no matter what I'm doing. Yeah, I guess you're not. Here you go. I
learned more how to do it. Like I learned how to dodge the debris and stuff. I still just don't like it. It's just not. It doesn't feel good.
It's one of my favorite fights.
Oh, it actually is.
I mean, it's so much fun. You're battling a giant underwater tongue.
Yeah, just giant fish monster. I thought it was a very cool kind of boss. I just wish that it had been executed better. But I really like the idea of what that was. Like Resident Evil needs like giant mutant beasts in their games versus dudes with like a bunch of tumors all over their body. Because I feel like that's most of what they have. Although this game did it a lot better, but yeah, most of that time it's just big, gross, like William Birkin looking monsters.
I like that though. Except I did enjoy the boss in this game. I do enjoy when you fight El Gigante, which is a giant like troll. And that scene as you're heading toward the church and they're trying to stop you, and they just open the gate and you just see all these, Ganados trying to open the gate, and the El Gigante comes out and kills them all. But you can pass by that scene earlier, and you can hear him making noises inside the gate. Yeah, it's just I never caught that until this playthrough.
So there's a part soon thereafter where it splits, right? You have a bunch of Ganados on one side and another Gigante on the other. How did everyone handle that part?
Cody, how did you do that part?
I did both. I went to because there's a note that's saying that if you're going right, there will be the El Gigante, and then if you go to the left, then there's just going to be a bunch of regular townsfolk. So I want as much loot as I possibly can. So I'm going to see if I can do both. So I went over there and I beat the big guy first, and then I doubled back around, or I found the merchant, and then I doubled back around and killed all of the villagers, which it turns out there were 2 ladies holding chainsaws in there. So that was pretty exciting. But I think I had the riot gun back at that point, or at the very least, I had a lot of shotgun.
You had the original shotgun.
Okay, but I found that definitely helped. If I just backed into like a corridor, let them line up, and just mowed them all down, and so they never even got close to me. So that was actually pretty fun. I don't know if you're supposed to do both, but
you're not.
A lot of people do. I think I did.
There's treasure on both sides.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I didn't even know you could do both until just now.
Yeah. Yeah, you just have to double back and then flip that switch, and then you go.
I love just the trail of notes that they leave that just explicitly lays out every part of the plan as you're going through. And my favorite part of that whole thing is you find the note with the 2 ways. And so I go right, kill Gigante, and immediately after, 5 minutes of real time, there's another note. It's like, well, shit, that American agent's really good. Now we got to move on. Like, how fast are you writing these things?
I've always liked the notes just because they're written in English and everybody speaks Spanish, but they're
makes no sense.
I gotta write
who are these? Who are these for?
Which is so nice of them.
It's very convenient. It's like, oh, the American will never know about the boss I have planned coming up here in seconds. It's like, well, fuck, I do now,
Dear diary,
so you can't read
5 minutes ago, Leon F. Kennedy, because we all know his full name somehow, just killed our giant ogre monster. Time to hop on the chairlift that we built here for some reason. I hope he doesn't find us. And then he just sets it down.
Beautiful.
Right there. Yeah.
I hope in the actual game it's just the same villager writing all the notes. And then like he's just kind of like building up a repertoire. It's like, ooh, the American did this today. The American did this today. Oh, my traps.
And it's a wonder that they didn't pull this off, because they wrote so much exposition in their notes. It's like, I really hope that the village chieftain's eye isn't found out to be the key for this door, because that would suck for us. Anyway, drop
I'm gonna
the
leave this
notes
on the table
in the room
and make it glow.
I didn't really thought about that, but you have a good point. Like, why are you writing these notes in English when you all speak Spanish?
It makes nothing in the game
Mexican
makes sense.
Spanish for some reason as well, which I thought was a little bit odd, because I believe in most of Spain it's spoken
Castilian
with just a little bit more of a lisp when they speak Spanish. It's more of a lisp because the king had one, right? Like King Alfonso or something had a lisp, and then it became the dialect of Spain.
Yeah, they could mostly be speaking like Castilian Spanish, which most of my family is from Seville.
Oh, okay. So then you would know this way better than me. Was that not Mexican Spanish that they spoke in this game?
So some words are, some words aren't. It's a mixture of everything.
Ooh, interesting.
I actually also think there's some Portuguese.
Because why not?
Yeah, because
I can buy the Portuguese.
It's all the same language.
Clearly.
Yeah, Italian and Spanish are the same language. But yeah, but also southern Spain also has more blonde people. And so the fact that all the villagers are dark-haired and kind of fair-skinned, it's like, this is northern Spain. This is not southern Spain.
Well, then they wouldn't have any
still using the Posada wherever they are, which was, I believe, a few years gone by the time this game came out.
Yeah, I was going to say it should have been the euro. Much like in Village, they're still using the old currency of, I believe it's Romania, but they're still using lei there for some reason.
I mean, this is gold, isn't it? Gold essentially.
Pitas.
Yeah, Posada it was the currency of Spain until like 2001 or something like that. So it is a real currency, just a bit outdated by the time the game came out.
I thought it was just gold all the time.
I thought it was just a made-up currency, until I started kind of looking into it.
That's cool. But I do want to talk about the first time that you see Ashley in the village. So I've hated her in different playthroughs of this game. I have no problem with her anymore. I think like the first scene when you first see her, she tries to hit you with a 2x4 because she doesn't know who the hell you are. I like that.
Understandable.
I like her actually this playthrough. I had no problem with her at all.
She has great fashion sense. She dresses so well for a fall aesthetic. I gotta say,
she has 2 sweaters for some reason. She has you
got the sleeveless sweater,
dressed in layers,
and then the other sweater around her waist.
Yeah, well, you got one sweater to party, and then one sweater to cozy. So you got to know what you're dealing with.
And mix that with like green skirt and knee-high boots. Yeah, I have no idea what she thinks is.
That's just
gonna
practical.
happen
You want to dress in layers if you're going to be kidnapped to Spain. So good for her.
Yeah.
The thing I had always heard about this game, because that was the literal like furthest I had ever gotten in this. I had never made it to her up until this playthrough. The only thing I had ever heard was how annoying and difficult she was to play with, and I did not see that at all in this game.
No.
But everybody talks so much shit about her, and like I didn't think she's the best character ever, but she's not near as bad as kind of as like her memes would lead you to think. I've done way worse escort missions.
I do wonder if they've improved her since the GameCube version. That's why people think she's so bad.
I love how she ducks when you like whip your gun around to like shoot somebody, and then she'll just like hit the deck to keep from getting shot. I thought that was
because you can absolutely kill her. I did that a couple times.
Yeah, I did too. She ran in front of my rifle bullet a few times.
Right, same. Yeah.
Dude.
I've never killed her before.
Yeah,
I killed her a couple times. I shot her when
twice.
she was being carried away before.
Okay, maybe I did. Okay, I should rephrase. I didn't kill her this playthrough. Okay, I had killed her before though. Okay.
I think I killed her because my friend said if you shoot her, you won't kill her, and so I killed her.
And you fell for it.
Classic.
Yeah. Classic.
One thing that we kind of glossed over, like the whole way that Leon even gets to this town, which I want to go back to, is that he goes around pushing a picture. Have you seen this girl? Have you seen this girl?
Just walking into people's houses.
Okay, so why did they send one guy that doesn't even speak Spanish to go after the president's daughter? Did they ever explain that?
Well, because look at this photograph.
Well, they said
Every time it makes me laugh.
there are two guards with you to start with, who I assume are
refuse to go with you, even though they could like translate. They want to hang back at the car and smoke.
They had
they're dickheads.
They don't even fire a gun, and they just get hucked in. I guess over the cliff. We see one of them. Their corpse gets fed to the giant fish monster, but the other one, I guess, dies in the car. Like,
well, he's burned alive inside the opening village with the chainsaw guy.
Oh, was that who that was?
Yeah, they're in two different places. You can find them in the game.
Oh, okay. I guess I didn't even look that close and see that was him up on the stake. Okay.
I think the first time you zoom in with your little binoculars that you have on you for some reason, it like kind of pinpoints you in the middle of the screen. It's like there's one of the policia.
Yeah. And I always took that as like, all right, these guys are bad. So like they're just farming, but it's like, all right, they've clearly set this guy on fire. So it's okay to kill these people, even though they're just tending their own business.
Oh, I didn't even look through the binoculars. I just ran right in. Yep. I just chose violence immedly.
Fuck this town.
Exactly.
Everyone in it.
So you were role playing as an American.
As myself, yes.
Colonial Leon.
Exactly. Spain.
Excuse me, have you seen this girl in this photograph? Bam.
Nope.
Well,
turn head wrong
he picked
way.
up an axe because I went in his house. Got to shoot him. No questions. We had to kill him.
It's just self-defense on his part.
Yeah. That guy was totally justified. Yeah, if somebody just shows up.
Absolutely. Didn't even knock. And then just robs the guy. Straight off the bat.
Steal his pistol ammo right there.
These we should remark on how much just ammo these people have lying around in barrels and boxes. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Especially since none of them carry guns. That's what's even stranger.
Well, yeah,
it's just the minigun guys, but the rest of them just use like crossbows at the most.
I have a question for Nick and Cody. Isn't it just a regular town in Texas though? Having all this ammo on everybody?
Yeah. Every time I pay cash at the gas station, I get a free Bible and a 38.
Yeah, of course.
What are you buying?
I have these big wooden crates, I just fill them full of one box of pistol ammo. Yeah. Just pistol ammo. It goes in any kind of pistol, as we all know.
Yeah.
There's just one kind with a picture of a bird on it.
The one brand of ammo.
Of pistol ammo that shoots pistol bullets.
Which
are completely different from a machine pistol bullets somehow. Yeah. Which is what a lot of people wouldn't get. Is the TMP should probably be shooting the same kind of ammo as the Red 9. But for some reason it's different because it has a picture of a jackal on it instead of a bird.
So I know they're all 9mm bullets for your handguns. I don't use the TMP, so I couldn't tell you
I don't either.
What kind of nonsense they put in there.
I have no idea what kind of gun that's supposed to be. I'm sure it's based on something real, but I have no idea.
It's like an Uzi-ish weapon, but not really an Uzi.
Yeah, I could get into specifics of why it's not, but I mean, there's probably some kind of British handgun that is that I've just never heard of, but it seems almost like science fiction for the way that thing's built.
It's probably just a Russian airsoft gun because it doesn't do anything in the game.
No, it's great for shooting the red buttons on the ceiling when the spike trap's coming down.
Yeah, so it's which does happen twice.
Yeah, it's yeah. So then you've got to take up 12 spots in your briefcase, which I don't know where he's carrying that in his briefcase for those two sections with the red spike buttons.
I do want to talk about that one scene that still, no matter how many times I play this game, I still love it. Is when you go in the cabin and you end up getting surrounded by Ganados and they're all coming in through the windows and coming in through the door. And I always love the line that Lewis has, which is the guy that you meet in this game for a couple parts. And he goes, I said, no more than 50 invitations. And I didn't get that line this time either. I wasn't paying attention or it didn't happen. But
I didn't say that either.
Maybe it's definitely in the GameCube version. Maybe they changed it.
Took all the good shit out of the GameCube version.
Is it dynamic audio or dialogue depending on like what you do in the game? Because I don't think I got that one either.
Which one?
I know I've heard it before because I made this joke many times over the years, but maybe they changed it.
Maybe.
But that cabin part is still so good though. Like just fighting all those guys, and you go upstairs and you're knocking down ladders. And again, that one's also either timed or based on how many people you kill. and it's so good still.
That cabin scene, along with the opening section of the village, really demonstrate to me how much of this game is basically like an action puzzle game. Having the tank controls and not being able to shoot at the same time as you move really gives you the ability to put yourself in position and then figure your way out of like a certain move and like a chessboard or something, and then reposition yourself and then do it all over again, almost like you're taking like turns in a turn-based strategy.
I had to look this up. The 50 invitations is his bottle cap voice clip, but doesn't appear in the action. It's a reference to the cabin fight, but doesn't actually appear in the cabin.
Okay.
My memory was wrong then. That's where I must have heard it from the first time. Then I confused
Which it does reference the cabin, so you had the connection right.
Okay.
Huh.
That's cool. Oh, well, that's my memory. I played this game too many times. My memory's all jumbled up with what happens.
The game just kind of exists in my memory. It's just all or nothing at once.
Maybe you didn't do the shooting galleries.
Yeah, I did those once in this game. I think I did just one in the castle. And I played it once, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what this is. And I decided that I did not have time for it. So
yeah, fuck this. If I'm not getting weapons or anything, it's like I don't care about bottle caps. Let's go.
You get money if you get all a row, I think you just get a lot of money. I don't think you get anything else for it. Can't remember though. It's been a long time. But the only other thing I want to say about the village, so I think we covered most things in the village, but the last thing to cover is the fight with Chief Mendez before you go to the castle. I mean, this is where you need his eyeball because, again, we were saying before, somebody left a note and said, hey, if you have his eyeball, you can open this door. So you have to go, you go to a cabin to fight him. And I still enjoy this fight. I love the fact that he almost kills you if you don't do a quick time event. And then you blow up the cabin, and then you have to fight him, and he like splits in two at one point. Like, it's still so cool.
Man.
Yeah, it's almost like Out of the Thing is what it always reminds me of.
Yes. I was trying to think of what that made me think of, and that is very John Carpenter's thing, just body horror with the spine like extending out. Yeah, it's sort of like a weird spider monster where he'll walk and then you'll blow off the bottom half and then he'll start swinging from the rafters. That's it was incredibly clever and just disgusting the way that they did that.
Yeah, really good fight.
It's really intense too because like the entire cabin's on fire and it's just they know how to raise the tensions to a point where like this is like life or death situation. And boy, man, this game is good. This is a good game. I don't think this is an unpopular opinion, but boy, I really, really like this game.
It's hard though. Like I will say that it is hard to use. Or not hard. I'm saying wrong word. It's hard to fight. Like I had a hard time with this fight the first time I did it. This playthrough because I was cheating. It wasn't too bad. But I remember him being an asshole to fight before because he goes on the ceiling, he's running around and killing me and.
I just kind of make a loop, so you just shoot him and fall, and then shoot him and climb, and he just really can't do much to. As long as you can hit your quick time events, he can insta kill you pretty easily.
Yeah,
right. Which I just kept running back and forth to each side of that room, and then pulled up. I think the rifle shot him in the head, and then he'd fall over. I'd knife him, and then book it to the other side of the room.
I love the rifle so much. It's maybe my most. I just love sniping as many people as you can before the fight start. Just evening the odds for yourself.
And that first rifle you get is still I want to say it's actually very powerful even late in the game. I don't use it late in the game. I always ditch it once I get the semi-auto, but I want to say it's pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't know what its special upgrade is. I
never keep it long enough. I think it's just damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I like how the fact that like the game progresses as you beat him. Because the whole point is you're trying to get to the first chopper to rescue you, but somebody shot it down. So that's why you're having those issues, and which is what then leads you end up going to the castle. I think this scene of you running up the hill, shooting the truck, everybody's chasing after you, and you just run into this castle to escape, even though you put yourself in a worse situation. It's still so cool.
Yeah, that's a great little scene too. I mean, it feels overwhelming in the sense of like, oh, but you have the agency as a player. It's not a cutscene. You just have 50 Ganados rushing at you, and so it kind of organically pushes you to the castle without taking your player agency away. Something this game does numerous times to just fantastic effect.
And I gotta say, I love the castle. I also love the fact that when you get in the castle, they take away Ashley. I think it's pretty quickly to take away Ashley.
A couple times. Yeah, you kind of get her and lose her, get her and lose her.
But no, the first time is when she starts coughing up blood because she's infected. She runs from you and just happens to hit the wall in the perfect spot for the thing to chain her to the wall.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, you fell in one of my traps." Like, she ran into a dead end. Like, you got lucky, asshole.
Yeah.
It's a really special trap. Like, if you were a little too slow, the spike would just impale you instead, and then you'd be dead, and they'd be like, "Oh, we killed Ashley." Well, I guess our plan is finished. Their whole plan is
I was gonna say, like they try to kill her kind of a lot.
Multiple times.
And isn't she key to infiltrating? And I think there was a note that's like, well, if plan B happens, then we'll just infiltrate our other way by invading. And I'm like, well, then why did y'all go to the whole business of the convoluted plan A with the president's daughter and then sending her back? And shouldn't they have just pushed her towards Leon and said oh, I guess you got us, so that Leon could bring her back to Washington, D.C.?
Supposedly the plan is to infect Leon too and have Leon take her back.
Well, he's infected at this point. He gets infected pretty early on.
Yeah, but do it immediately, before you even fight the chieftain.
Yeah.
They should back off immediately and just let them both run out. I mean, there's only one way to
at that point.
I mean, there's only one way to get rid of it, and it's on that stupid island lab.
It's so
they would have probably been mindless before they even got back to the U.S., right?
Yes. So there is one note, a throwaway note maybe, but it says something about the Las Plagas kind of taking on the conscience of its host. So maybe if Sadler's not close by to exert his influence, it doesn't really do anything. Maybe a little leeway there. It's kind of unclear. Okay. The whole timeline of the Las Plagas is unclear to me. How long it takes to grow and do things.
Entire plan
very arbitrary.
To, send Ashley back and get everybody infected. Would Sadler come with her when she did that?
No.
Oh, totally unclear.
And when did they exactly give Ashley the Los Plagas? Because presumably she got it as soon as she got there, and she's still doing okay.
Some point before you. That's why she's infected, or infected enough that Sadler can control her later in the game because she's already had it where you got it later.
But Leon seems to be getting pretty advanced, and he's only had it for a few hours, though, right? Or am I just crazy here?
No, it feels totally arbitrary as you're playing, honestly.
Okay.
Well, doesn't it when you fight the lake monster, don't you collapse for 12 or 18 hours?
Yes.
I guess it is night by the time, but even then, that should have been days versus Leon with a day or two, right? I mean, I don't know how long Ashley's been gone.
It mentions it takes years from the initial excavation until the villagers themselves started kind of showing the
because when they first started mining, everything was already dead and they found fossils. It was the spores that infected miners from other towns, and then they were able to use that to create them, and then they started infecting people.
Right.
Which I just
is
found
a pretty cool little touch. Yeah.
It's good though.
Is this a prequel to The Last of Us?
Ooh.
And apparently, when we get towards the ending of this game, I actually understand now what's happening for the first time in the 15 years I've been playing this game. So we'll get there later. But I love everything about the castle. The castle is so good, and Salazar, he annoys the hell out of me, but he's a fine character for this.
Oh yeah, Salazar's great.
And I guess I never really I knew he was part of the castle, but I guess as I was watching videos before this, he inherited it from his family, who had owned the castle for years, and apparently whoever owned it a long time ago was part of the Lost. God, what the hell's her name?
Lost Illuminados.
Yes, and they got killed during the Crusade, and then that's when the Lost Plagas were then sealed underneath. And then Sadler had known about it because he knew about the religion, and he was the one that convinced Salazar to make up for what his family had done and to excavate under the castle, and that's how the whole problem started, which I didn't know.
Okay.
Fucking Salazar.
Again, I don't know how well this plan holds together.
Very haphazard.
Very 80s action movie James Bond kind of plan, which I guess fits for everything else in this game.
Yeah, it's definitely there's a certain level of camp. I think it works. It doesn't take itself too seriously at any time,
definitely.
For sure.
Oh, definitely.
And it's fun still.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that the enemies change, when you get to the castle, you stop fighting villagers, and now you fight guys in black cloak.
Mm-hmm. With shields.
And
those stupid shields.
Rocket launchers, inexplicably.
Rocket launchers and wooden shields. It's amazing.
And maces. Or not maces, but ball and chain.
Yeah, the big Morning Star or flail or whatever you call that thing.
Yeah, they are. The shields are annoying because the shotgun doesn't really do justice. The rifle
The rifle.
aim headshot.
Rifle.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
In the Punisher,
Just right.
the pistol can do damage through the shield.
True.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which
I've never seen that because
I always go for the red 9 as soon as I get the chance.
As
my
soon as you get the
pistol
chance.
disappears.
Yeah.
The Punisher disappears every time I play this game. As soon as I get it, just disappears right back into the shop.
It's like 10,000 gold right there.
10,000 money pesadas.
And I actually have never used the red 9 until this playthrough. I've always never bought it. And then I got the Blacktail every time I played this game. And I used the Blacktail all the way through, thinking that was the best handgun until people got mad at me when I posted my inventory.
People,
Your
were getting
inventory
mad at
was
you
a
about your
fucking
inventory.
mess.
Yeah.
I saw that thing.
On purpose.
A mess.
Normally I
was
care.
stuck with the original. It's got the highest crit chance, and I just I was going for headshots, and that's not a great play. Starting
Yeah,
handgun sucks.
It's a very high risk, high reward gun
For
right
sure.
there. Once you look, because isn't the special upgrade like increased crit?
Yeah. So it's great, but the problem with it is, especially with headshots and your crit shots, if you have one of the guys who has like a second form, they almost always instantly go into it. No kickback or no nothing. So it doesn't end up being as effective as it seems.
We also should mention that all the guns can be upgraded, and you get upgrades by getting money, and you upgrade your guns, and you unlock like exclusive features once you finish them.
Yeah.
Which is one reason I love this game. One thing that was missing in my New Game Plus, my guns are all upgraded, so I lost that dopamine hit, and I was like, It took away something from me from this game.
But a great element, and I get one of the first games that I can think of that kind of action games that really let you almost like an RPG light element in the sense that you're just kind of upgrading. It's money and not experience, but that sense of progression, was just really novel and super cool, especially at the time.
Yeah.
It's one reason I love this game, because I could upgrade things, because I could. I mean, you can play this game so differently. Like I mean, it sounds like all of us probably played a little bit differently, which we'll get more later in the show I want to talk about. But that's the fact you can play this game differently, because depending on what weapons you use, that's what the enemies are going to drop ammo for you. They're going to drop ammo for the weapons that you're using, so you can keep using those weapons, not forcing you to use other ones.
There's the rumor that it's actually the opposite, that you tend to get more ammo for weapons you're not using. Although
my last run, I only used the pistol, the red 9, and also the riot gun once I got it, and I got a lot of rifle ammo.
Okay,
And
maybe that's true, because I did
TMP.
get a lot of rifle ammo in this
Yeah, I
game.
I
got
never
lots
even
of
bought
rifle
the
ammo.
TMP and just fucking flooded with TMP ammo throughout the game.
I only get it when you find it. I never got it from people, because I never
That's a
used
good
it.
point. I never really thought about it. I don't know if enemies dropped it or if I just found the preset TMP ammo.
There is a lot of preset ammo in this game,
Yeah, for sure.
which I know was one of the complaints for a lot of people with this game, is that there was so much preset stuff, and so much dropping. But I love that. So
Yeah, I mean, but I never felt like I was, other than a few sections of it, I never felt like I was flushed with like ammo, other than maybe rifle, because I didn't. I only use that in certain circumstances, but I feel like I was always a little bit nervous for ammo, even with all of the stuff, all of the what did you call it, preset, where it was just in boxes and stuff. I feel like even with that, I was still kind of hurting for it.
Yeah, it's so just expertly paced. One of the best paced games that you'll ever
definitely
find, just in all ways, really.
Yeah, I will say that even though I love 5, I don't think there's been another Resident Evil game that was paced quite this well.
Yeah, it's a masterclass in level design and just such a good game.
And
Glad we're discussing it.
especially when it's like very linear and it just kind of feels like a series of rooms for the most part, where it's like these little 5 to 10 minute, like you said, almost like puzzle sequences where you have to figure out how to get into the next room, or like how to get past whatever the enemy that you face in this is, and then you move on, and then you're in another 5 to 10 minute room, which when you describe it like that can almost seem kind of boring, but all of them are different enough that I was never bored, and I had no idea what to expect was going to be in the next 5 to 10 minute room. Does that make any sense? It's like,
No, yeah. It's very, very linear, but also, it gives you the agency to approach it how you want.
and it also kind of makes you, well, and it also kind of makes you slow down, and it's showing you something different constantly.
Yeah, it's just a series of set pieces that just all work and beautiful tandem.
Bingo.
This is a game you can play in 30-minute to hour chunks and be totally fine. And you can also play it in 8 to 10 hour marathons and just constantly be rewarded by all the new shit they're popping out of.
Well, and I also love the way that they would take these kind of super enemies and then put them in new and scarier ways. Like the first time you fight the big Wolverine blind guy, you're in like a big open like dungeon, and it's frightening because he will just charge at you, and you're like, if this thing gets me, he's gonna rip me up. So I have to run around this run around this giant pillar and like shoot the bells. What am I gonna do in this big open space? And then the second time that you see him, you're locked in a cage with him. You're in a phone booth, and that's just, I mean, it takes that anxiety from that first time and it just ratchets it way.
That is
way
the worst part in the game,
because you know exactly what that thing can do, and it gives you some like I just thought that it says so much without saying anything, if that makes sense.
I love the first part too. You have to kind of lean in close to him to press a button, and the camera just zooms in. You know shit's about to pop off, and you absolutely cannot do anything about it.
Yeah, the game is cruel because in like that way, but also like the El Gigante, where you have to choose which route, because you just fought at El Gigante a while ago, and you're like, well, do I want to do it again, or do I want to go to a place I have no idea about? And so it gives you this like kind of this moral, like this dilemma.
Pick your poison.
Yeah, pick your poison.
And then towards the end, you see two of them, which is just another way that like ratchets it up again.
How are they feeding these people? These things are huge.
That's a great question, actually. I hadn't even thought of that. All those cows, I guess.
All this, yeah.
That checks out.
But the Wolverine fight in that dungeon, I think that is just such a classic boss fight, because you can do that fight a couple different ways. I always leave Ashley now on the stairs because I know better, and then I go down there, because the first time I did it, I brought her with me. Don't do that.
I brought her with me.
Yeah,
too.
Everyone makes that mistake, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, and I just love this, because I remember when I first played it, I didn't know you could shoot the bells. I don't think it was right away I noticed the bells, but you shoot the bells, he runs into the bells. Like, it is so cool. You can shoot him and try to get him to smash the wall, but it doesn't work well. Because you can't run. If you run, he follows you.
Yeah.
If a video game has a bell or a waterfall, you're going through that waterfall. You're shooting that bell.
Yeah.
There's another kind of...
Oh, I was saying I found out with him, if I just walked really slow, he wouldn't hear me.
Yeah, walking. So you can't run.
Right. Yeah. So I just kind of slowly moved around the back of him and just blasted that thing on his back, and then ran like nuts, and then stopped and had to slowly
that's what I do.
But I could definitely see there's a few different ways to skin that cat, which is again just brilliant sort of what's the word I'm looking for? A design, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I loved it.
Definitely.
It's one of my favorite. And I love just fighting him. I hate him in the cage. Like you were talking about that cage. I fucking hate that fight in the cage. But the first fight I love.
The point is you're supposed to hate that thing. It's
terrible. I mean, you can
anxiety. I
think the best way to do it, I think I grenade the door open or I shoot the door open with a rifle.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I always have a couple flash grenades for that. Just stun them, shotgun open the door, and then you're free to pick them off as you like.
I know the first time I played this game, I died to this part. It took me a long time to do this part. The first time.
It's tough. Oh, it's tough. That whole section is just filled with giant fuck yous, just one after another.
The castle is like that. Like after you lose Ashley, you're running around the sewers fighting the stupid bugs. You're fighting guys in long corridors. They just keep coming at you. Like you have a lot of big parts that I think are very well done in the castle.
Well, I think they just didn't want you to get to the island.
Yeah, they're throwing everything they got at. There's a section where there's rocket launchers behind like the hidden picture. You know, and then you open a door, and there's just two of them 2 foot from you. Just like, what? How the fuck did these guys get here?
I've done it where I've shot them. If you shoot one of them inside the painting, they'll blow up each other. I've done that before too.
Oh, that's amazing.
Shot the grenade too, the RPG. I mean, you can shoot crossbow bolts out of the air. You can shoot all that stuff out of the air.
Oh yeah, that's
I did do that.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh man, hitting a scythe while it's in the air coming towards you, or hitting one of those people who are throwing the dynamite. One of the best things in video games.
Absolutely.
And that sound of like hitting that scythe, and it's that bing, and just knock. Oh, it's beat.
Yeah, that's the good.
Love that sound.
Things that make this game so good.
There's another boss in there. So the knights that come to life, you got 4 of them, and then there's like 4 more.
I don't like them.
That's one of the biggest like bullshit fights. But the pro tip is that you leave Ashley right outside that door. So when you walk in, you're locked in, and they can't murder her.
Yeah, I don't bring her. I brought her in the first time I played this game, but I don't bring her in anymore.
Yeah, she got killed right off the bat the first time I played. It's like, well, rude.
Not a good idea to bring her in that room.
Yeah.
Nothing good is going to come out of it.
That's a particularly tough one. I struggle. I died 3 or 4 times to that particular fight.
Same.
It's a nice change because those knights only show up in that one part when you're trying to get the 2 chalices.
Mm-hmm.
Like another interesting part in the castle, you actually get to play as Ashley for a small part because she has to. Because when you get separated after she got chained up, you have to then we play as her where you can't fight the guys, but it wasn't the first time through. I learned you can take the torches, you can light the guys on fire and actually kill them.
Yeah.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain lamps.
And it auto throws too. So you
she'll throw it right at them.
You can miss.
Great. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I found out this time playthrough I missed.
You just pick it up and she just kind of throws it automatically for me. So
she does, but if they're too close or too far, it will miss.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I admit it where I missed, and he just grabbed me and hugged me instead. And I'm like, well, this ain't how it's supposed to work. So then you can lock one of them behind a gate, or you can lock both of them behind a gate depending how you do it to hit us, because you have to hit it when the button switches. You got to keep tapping the button.
Yeah.
Does anyone give Ashley the yellow herbs, or just like deal with it? Sorry.
I did this time just because that the yellow herbs are how you increase your max health. Except in this playthrough, Leon's health already maxed out because I already beat the game once, so I just did Ashley too. But I don't do it normally for her.
I would rather sell them than give her more health.
I did 3 or 4 times, but I expected her to be in the game more than she actually was.
Yeah, you just don't need it.
But looking back at that, when you realize you can make her wait or hide, it's completely unnecessary.
Right. It's easier to just keep her safe than worry about her taking any damage.
Exactly.
She can take a lot of damage real fast.
Yeah, for sure. But usually, I like it. They'll try to pick her up. Like if she gets caught in the crossfire,
right?
They're trying to steal her away, so they don't necessarily want to hurt her, which I guess helps you.
Yeah.
Don't they open a portal up if they grab her and carry her far enough?
If they go through a green, like a transition, an area transition, you lose the game.
Right.
I thought there was a portal though, like they open up and walk through.
Yeah, maybe so. I've never seen it. I've always just lost when you have doors you can open like in white and then green doors that take you to a load a new area. And if they take her through one of those, you get a death cutscene.
Okay, I could have sworn.
Ashley, even if you're 2 foot from the door.
It's been a long time since I played.
It's possible. I mean, maybe if there's not like a transition door close by, that they gotta do something to get her out of there. The Americans not gonna handle that shit for too long.
I didn't know you can increase Ashley's health.
Yep.
Oh, you never done it before?
Wow.
Yeah, give her the yellow herbs.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of. She can be annoying though.
Again, I didn't find her all that bad. I felt like she got a lot better than at the very beginning. I felt like the only time that I found her annoying is when she would be trapped up somewhere and you were like trying to find the key to where she was to get her out. And she just kept yelling, Leah! Over and over again.
Yeah, for sure.
I never understood the hate with Ashley. I thought it added a pretty unique element to the game. I thought the fact that you could put her in a dumpster was really nice.
I didn't do it this playthrough, but yeah.
Fulfill the fantasy. So she does have a thing. If your camera finds its way under her skirt, she'll call you a pervert. And I learned this because I got knocked down by a piece of dynamite. And as I fall down, I guess I'm looking up, and she calls me out for it as I'm dying on the ground.
Likely story.
Yeah, right.
I tried that, and she didn't call me a pervert. The game just let me look, and I'm like, this is not what's supposed to happen.
Well, I didn't know that actually was a thing, because I felt like there was quite a bit of just in the cutscenes. I feel like there was a lot of
there's some gratuitous shot.
Yeah, there's some definite. It was very Japanese at times.
Absolutely.
You can see her panties in this game multiple times in the cutscenes.
Which there's also a line where like Leon and her like jump off of something, and he's like, I knew you would be fine if you landed on your butt. And I'm like, Leon, have you like not that I've been looking hard, but Ashley doesn't really have much of a butt. I mean, she's like a
packing.
I mean, she's like a frog in a skirt. There's not much there.
Not per Lewis. He said she's got ballistics.
Well, ballistics are very different. Ballistics
I know, but it's just that
forward-facing missiles, very, very different from what's a nice way of saying butt thunder.
As a man with a very large ass, I used a sweater trick to hide my ass.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's why she had the second sweater.
Yeah.
So quietly, she was she was pulling the old Jennifer Love Hewitt, which no one knows about her. She has a very big butt, and none of us knew it back in the 90s because small butts were in fashion back then. And so they never showed that she had a big butt. If she had been born 10 years later, she would be praised as a hero. She'd be praised as a hero. She is outside of her own time.
I mean, this is the president's daughter.
Yes.
She has
what are we talking about again?
Times through the game.
Yeah.
Right.
And another thing about this game, that everything was actually like Lewis, the guy that's in the game a little bit, like he dies midway through the castle.
So unspectacular.
Yeah.
He gets stabbed right through the stomach by Sadler's giant scorpion dick, essentially, because it came right out of his robes. That's what I always thought of.
It's scorpion dick.
That's what the official artwork calls it.
You can eat those in Spain. It's a delicacy.
Ooh. Scorpion dicks. What's great is you get Ashley relatively soon after, and you just come by. She does not give a shit. Like the body of Lewis is just laying on the ground. She doesn't remark on it, mention it. It's just like we got to go.
I don't get is Sadler kills Lewis. He takes the sample and he just leaves. He's like, screw you guys. I'm done. See you later. He doesn't even try to kill you. Just leaves.
He does that so many times. Like he'll just leave Leon and or Ashley without doing it. Like,
well, he's got to go write the note. He's got notes to write. The American, like he just fucking got away.
I mean, this is like Dr. Evil levels of bad villainy.
It's very incompetent. Absolutely. So one thing that always stuck out to me is, all right, you have your conversations with Hunnigan and then Salazar or whatever. He clearly puts up a walkie-talkie with no screen to his face like a phone, and then all of a sudden you've got video on some other device. It's never really clear to me how these communications are happening at any given time.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I have no clue. Oh, and they spelled incoming as IN space COMING. Which bugged me, and then outgoing is OUT space GOING.
There's some weird kind of translation. I remember Leon says something along the lines of, "I hate to break it to you," is what he meant to say, but he's like, "I hate to break it out to you, Salazar."
Yeah, it's just a lot of strange
close,
things,
but not quite.
And then the first thing Ashley yells is "Don't come," which do with that what you will.
So,
guys, this is the Japanese game.
Very Japanese.
They say that in House of the Dead, the victims that you rescue in House of the Dead would say, "Don't come." So I always thought that was a reference to House of the Dead.
Okay, so that would make more sense then. I mean, maybe. I mean, it makes as much sense as anything else.
Yeah, right. Who knows?
And I like how as the game progresses, the radio, you talk to different people. Like at first it's Hunnigan. In the castle, Salazar hacks your radio and he's talking to you. And in the island, it's Sadler. Yeah. Which is interesting that they change it up so it's not just the same person the whole time.
Which again, like, how do they get what is it? I guess it's a frequency. None of it's really clear how any of the communications are.
That's how I took it, that they hacked the frequency.
I guess.
I think that'd be possible.
Plaga.
Why not?
Plaga magic. Why not?
So as I was playing through this game, I had forgotten all about them. Like I remember the mines existed, but I forgot the mines were under the castle. So all the part with the mine carts and the chainsaw guys, like I thought all that was in the island. I'm like, wait a second, this happened too early. And then but now as I have been watching the videos in the game, that's where the Lost Plagas all come from. This is a little mining operation underneath the castle.
Yeah, that's where exactly. Which is a cool touch, I thought.
Yeah, and one thing we hadn't mentioned, we talked briefly about it, how when you destroy a Lost Plaga, sometimes things will pop out, and there's 3 different forms. You don't see the second and third form till the castle, which the second form is looks like a slug that bites off your head if you get too close, and the third form looks like a spider that jumps out and runs after you in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hate those guys.
Yeah.
Me too.
But again, that's a cool touch, kind of like a gameplay element. I always took it as, well, it's evolving. Like this Las Plagas is taking root in these people as you play, and I thought that was a nice touch.
It's supposed to be 3 different types of Plagas that they're experimenting on and putting in people. I always took it the way that you said it too. That's what I kind of thought, but when I was doing research, that's what the YouTuber said.
So are they different, like Plagas for the El Gigante and the
Yes.
And the Regenerator and the Berserker and all that as well?
We'll get there. But yes, everything has been experimented on by them to create that. That's what Lewis also was doing, was helping them create different Plagas and stuff of that nature.
Right.
So he had a lot to do with that, and that's why he finally just had enough and decided to run away.
Which this series does have a lot of...
Guy? Was Luis a bad guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
He had a change of heart.
Right. He was a cop / scientist somehow, much like Albert Wesker, which that's weird that there's so many cops that also.
I wonder if that's even true, that he was a cop major and that was just
the
what he said.
classic cop scientist archetype.
Yeah,
He's definitely a scientist. He definitely was involved in making the different Las Plagas that you fight. It was all him, and then he was also the one that came up with the antidote to slow it down. I think he's also the one that creates the machine to get rid of it, which nobody destroyed for some reason. Like, we'll just leave this machine here just in case. We need it to rescue people that we put Las Plagas in or something stupid.
Right before the last boss. It's just convenient as possible.
Yes. I'm trying to think any other bosses we should mention in the castle before we get to Salazar. I don't think there's anybody else.
Were the 2 El Gigantes, was that
Oh, yeah, that's in the basement too.
Yes, because of all the
interesting
lava.
Fight. Because
who put the masks on those things? One of them clearly went to like Hot Topic or went to an Eyes Wide Shut party because he's wearing like a leather mask. So I'm picturing like 6 or 7 of these villagers not only sewing this big mask, but then climbing their back and like bandana tying it like for no real discernible reason. And the other one was wearing like an outlaw like bandana over his face, like he's worried about like COVID or something, so he's like masking.
So do you guys always drop one of them in the lava?
Yeah.
Everyone knows that's an option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did this happen to anybody else where they dropped one in the lava and then they got too close to it and the thing grabs you and drags you into the lava? Okay. I
did it this time. I haven't done it before, but my dumbass tried to run by him and he went, and grabbed me and pulled me in the lava. And I'm like, I didn't know that could happen.
Yeah.
I think there is the optional kind of boss. He's in the castle, right? The one you have to freeze, or is that?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, he is in the castle. It's after this, but yes, I forgot about him, but yeah, we'll talk about him shortly.
Okay, but yeah, but those 2 giant guys. I didn't know that you could only use that thing like 2 or 3 times. Otherwise, because the first time it was before they even came out, and I was just like, messing around with it.
You can use it more than once.
You can use it twice. But that's it. No matter if someone falls in it or not, you get to open it twice, and that's it.
I always open it once, and I fight the other guy normal. I never knew you could open it twice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the first time I did it before anybody even came out, so I just wasted it.
I just died then and start over.
And that is so that is right after the Verdugo, who is your nitrogen tank guy. You can have those 2 bosses. Yeah, relatively close to each other.
Okay, because that one you can actually like just avoid him completely.
For like 3 minutes.
If you kill him, you get a piece of the crown.
The crown, which sells for, I think, the best-selling item in the game, actually, if you can complete it.
Which I saved my free rocket launcher for that.
That's where I used it on Verdugo as well.
I didn't grab the rocket launcher because my case was too cluttered, so I couldn't hold it.
This is Salazar's right hand, which is, of course, the setup for one of the greatest worst jokes in video game history.
My favorite line in the entire game.
Absolutely a classic. And Salazar's going to send his right hand after you.
When you're falling down the pipe, I don't hear the sound of impalement.
Oh my God!
He's doing the Salazar.
Yes. I love that.
You got to stop everything to do a bit. We're doing a bit right now. Like, what the fuck? What are we doing? It's old school ear megaphone.
Oh, here's the line. Where's the satisfying sound of one's impalement? I think it was all right, wasn't it?
No, I like that. That was a very good, very, very good
imitation.
Yeah.
Don't you know no one dies without cause? You will satisfy the stomachs of my cute pets.
Also, one of the many examples in the game of Leon just pulling random shit that you never see. He pulls a grappling hook out of nowhere that could have came in useful who knows how many times before now, to rescue himself. He's got a tracking device later he throws on Ashley that might have been a good idea 4 chapters previous.
I think he uses the hook one more time, but it's just but there isn't even a rope on it. He uses it just to hit like one villager towards the end.
He throws it at someone. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like completely unrelated reason for that. I'm like, you might have needed that for later.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
Who knows? Apparently there's one tucked away somewhere.
And the first time I did that fight with the right-hand man down below where he's like hunting you above you, I didn't know you could push over the nitrogen tanks to freeze him to hurt him, because you freeze him and you're able to hurt him.
That's the only way to hurt him. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise he's invincible.
Yeah.
The first time I did that, I just ran around in circles around the room until the timer goes for both things, for the elevator and the door. It's not the way to play it. You
can do that, or if you do enough damage to him, it'll open basically right off the bat.
Yeah, but I couldn't hurt him, so I just ran in circles.
Yeah, like this.
That's why I think that's why they give you the rocket launcher a little bit earlier to this, is to have it for this fight.
Yeah,
because then you freeze him, rocket him, over.
It was pretty badass. It was, man, I feel like that's been the end to an action movie before, is you freeze something, and maybe Jason X or something, where they freeze him in that, and then you like blow it up with something. It was a very fun thought. Even the game, if you like look at those, he will be like, frozen nitrogen. What's that doing down here?
Wonder if this will come in handy.
Yeah, and
later,
because there's no reason for that to be down there. He's just like, well, a boss fight's gonna happen here, at some point. So we had best leave some, 5 or 6 tanks just in case.
The only thing missing is the handwritten note. Like, sure hope the American doesn't know that the nitrogen will kill my right hand.
Oh, that would be terrible, and they just leave it for the elevator.
It's still I usually skip that boss before when I play this game, just because I didn't know the tricks or want to waste the ammo, but killing him is much better.
Yeah, no, fuck him.
He is the worst.
Can't you just like knife him to death? Like if you just like hit him a whole bunch with a knife?
I suppose you could. It would be a... so actually, I don't know, because you only have so many nitrogen tanks. So if you don't damage them enough after all your nitrogen's gone, then you just have to leave. I don't think you have any...
You have to run around until the timer goes. That's what I've done before.
Yeah, so I don't know if you could get enough knife hits with your available nitrogen, but maybe. It's a good question.
Maybe. The knife actually does more damage than I think most weapons in this game.
Oh, it's very strong.
I forget, because I watched speedruns of this, and they've said that the knife is one of the most powerful weapons. It just has to be used right.
I think that's the case for like a lot of RE games, which is what makes the knife runs actually viable. I know most of the boss fights have special knife quick time events.
Your Gigante does for sure. You can kind of hop up on him
and your final fight, I know definitely does, because I found it by accident where like climbed on top of him and was stabbing him in the eye.
That's how I always kill him. Interesting. I always assumed you kind of had to. I thought that was the only way to really damage him.
Not with the Chicago typewriter. You just shoot the body and the fight's over. But we'll get there.
Yeah.
And so in the castle, I do want to talk about the final boss. As you're finishing up, or at least the final boss of the castle, you're finishing up the castle, you finally get to Salazar after you climb a long tower, get chased by a statue of Salazar that comes to life and chases you down.
So great.
Still funny. Still works. And
I was laughing out loud at that.
The Salazar fight, how he takes his left-hand guy and goes inside this giant, like, vegetation that's growing on the wall in this one room. And then I guess it never really occurred to me that the thing that's trying to bite you and hit you is his left-hand guy you put in there, essentially. And he's just a little thing that, like, but also, how would you reverse this process? Like, if you kill Leon, is there a way to come out of this? Or I'm stuck in the wall from now on?
I think I think that's life now.
I did enjoy this fight, because when you hit the eyeball, then it reveals him, and I always shoot him right in the face with a semi-auto, and I had the exclusive to it, so I could just hit the button really fast. There is nothing that feels quite like hitting him with 3 or 4 rifle shots right in a row. It feels so good to watch him go, and he's just getting hit.
And he's not so bad, because you can quick time dodge almost all of his attacks. Like, you get a pretty generous window there, so I didn't find him too tough. Jump
down during the fight? Because you're not alone if you jump down there.
Oh yeah, so I I didn't know this at first when I played it this time. I went down there and gathered all the shit because I was like, I'm gonna kill this guy and it's gonna instantly kind of send me on a boat. So I was like, no. So I wasted time just gathering all the shit that's down there, which is quite a bit of goods to get down there.
There's also
but yeah, it's a
down there
total
too.
pain in the ass. So many spiders down there.
I don't go down there anymore. I just this time again, I was kind of cheating. I was on New Game Plus. I'm like, I don't care. I'll just take them out.
Yeah, it's not worth it in retrospect. I mean, you get some herbs and stuff, but
I mean, this is all news to me. I just I always save my Magnum bullets for that. So I think he took like half a dozen shots from the what is that thing called?
You got the broken butterfly.
Yes.
I think, at that point.
Yeah.
So like 6-7 shots from that, and he just fight was over in 90 seconds.
Yeah, we're moving on here. Sorry, Salazar. I do love the quick right before though. You kind of throw the knife in his hand, and then his homeboy throws it back, and that catches a lot of people off guard. Yeah. A great wake me up that I'm not the only one who can throw knives around here.
Well, I think that speaks to how you can never really relax during any of the cutscenes in this game because you never know when something's just going to jump out at you, and then you're going to have to do quick times.
Mm-hmm.
I sent Mike a video from MC Chris that he did years and years ago when this game was new. He's like, I've been playing Kingdom Hearts 2, and we're sitting around and we're doing jobs and we're trying to make enough money to get to the fun part of the game. Meanwhile, I'm playing Resident Evil 4, and it's like, this ain't a cutscene. Press A. You ain't got time to smoke a bowl. The president's daughter's been kidnapped. Press A. Press A. No, that is about right, because cutscenes for me are usually when I check my phone.
Sure, yeah.
But in this, I will look up and I just have a knife in my face.
That's great. The unpredictability, this game is so good about that.
That was also the era. QuickTime events were an era at this time. That was a thing in 2005. I'm glad that we're away from that thing. Yeah, that was definitely a thing. In 2005.
If I could change one thing, I would probably find something else to do other than the QuickTime events.
Yeah,
I feel like those didn't age too well.
Yeah, this game has one thing that ages that it just doesn't have enough QuickTime events.
More QuickTime.
Yeah, if they just replace all the combat QuickTime, make it a Telltale game, it would have been a great game. Masterpiece almost.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
There's actually one character we haven't really talked about at all during this talk yet. We haven't talked about the best character in the entire game, the Merchant.
Oh my God! How have we not brought up this guy? He's great.
Okay, what are you buying?
So is there only one guy? Or are there a bunch of brothers?
I don't know.
There's only one, because if you do the separate ways, which I don't know if we'll discuss that, but you meet him before he's opened up, and he kind of mentions he's not open yet, but he's got places to be. So it seems to be this one guy moving along.
Okay.
And how is he carrying all of this stuff? He's very strong.
He has shops in different places.
He's got a few different areas set up that are clearly kind of stocked.
And then he's somehow he's both inside of, or he's both set up shop in the castle, and then he somehow makes it through the door before you do to set up the bottle cap mini game.
Yeah.
This is the guy that should really be saving, because this guy's got teleportation powers.
So has anyone killed the merchant?
No.
You can kill the merchant. I didn't even try that.
Yes.
And that seems like something I would do.
Yeah.
So what happens when you do that?
So if you kill him on any mode but professional, he will die at that one spot. You can find him anywhere else. On professional, though, if you kill him, he is gone for the rest of the game.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
Okay, I've killed him before just to screw around, but I've never killed him on professional. That's gotta be terrible.
Yeah, he does not come back.
I had no idea.
That would suck.
Oh man.
And then after you finish the castle, you get to the best part of the game. You get to the island.
Island, baby!
I never liked the island, and I don't like it still.
It was worse on a playthrough. I agree.
Yeah,
It's hard.
I hate fucking island.
It definitely took the wind out of my sails for sure.
You probably didn't see it coming either.
Nope, had no idea. I figured there was going to be some kind of a secret lab, because there's always some kind of lab, because it's a Resident Evil game. But yeah,
And it happens kind of earlier in this game than I remembered. So you have the island, and then there's the lab where you have the regenerators and whatnot. But then the game goes on for a little bit longer after that than I initially recalled.
There's like Egyptian ruins. There's probably some, but am I not the only one that thought that it's like ancient Egypt?
Yeah, they kind of have that. You're not wrong. They have that feeling.
I mean, they could be Moorish, but again, I need to go back and learn the social studies to know why there's like architecture that looks like that in somewhere Spain.
I don't think
you do find like a royal scepter down there. So I guess it seemed like maybe like a king's tomb or something like that.
As a guy who did a lot of research for this, I have no idea why that's there.
And there's chainsaws down there. There's guys with chainsaws. There's very little to no lumber down there, so I don't know why they have chainsaws.
Yeah.
To cut you up?
I mean, just
that's
in
all they're there for.
Like, just in case Leon goes down there, they're like, well, thank God I have my gassed up craftsman down here.
Well, the other issue that I have with the whole island is that you get introduced to where you fight the Gatling gun guys. You fight your first guys with actual gun.
Yeah.
And it's like away.
You have rocket launcher guys earlier, but yeah.
Yeah, but the Gatling gun guys. You get to that first part of the island, you jump over, and all these guys will start swarming you. And this is when they start really having a weapon. They're not hitting you with axes and scythes. Now they have stun batons, and it gets violent.
Yeah, they get much better armed when you get to the island.
I still don't understand what the island is doing there. Like, I don't know if Sadler had something. I don't. Unfortunately, I didn't watch enough videos that explain the island. I've never really understood the island.
I assume
they're
it's
just
like
doing shit at this point.
It's like his militia. Well, I know I'd read something about his plan B, right? So like if the Ashley thing didn't work out, he was going to invade or something, which would be hilariously terrible. Like they would just get mowed over immediately. Because I mean, there's a lot of them there, but that's versus the American military.
They wouldn't get anywhere.
No, there's what 300 or 400 zombie guys.
He mentions some sort of destabilization plan for the U.S., but it never kind of goes into what that is.
Right. So I assume that he had his own little mini army that he was going to mobilize for that specific.
Spanish people have a very long history of showing up to places very unprepared.
That classic hurricane story, right?
Yeah.
Queen of England. Yeah.
Just see everything with the island. It just. And then one thing about the island that still to this day creeps me the fuck out is the regenerators. They are the creepiest enemy in any Earth Navy game up to this point.
The way they move is just it shivered me. Like,
jerky. Yeah.
The audio, the sound, and the music for that is flawless. I think that is some of the best use of music and sound effects
Totally agree.
Because you would hear that before you would even see them. And then you would just start looking around. Oh, shit, this thing's around. I can hear it doing its little laughy, breathy, that thing that it's doing. And the music is just nerve-wracking. And
the sound design throughout the game really is just fantastic. It's so sparse, but it cues you in when you need to know something. It's just fantastic.
Yeah. Like, that to me, I think was really might have been the strongest suit of this entire game was the music and the sound effects. And that's saying a lot. This is a very solid game.
With the regenerators, you hear him fall off the table before he starts laughing at you. And the first time I saw one, I tried to kill it and I shot it and I'm like, what the hell? It just regenerated limbs. You couldn't kill it because you have to get the scope to find the plagas that are in it to shoot it. It is still so creepy.
I think the first one I saw, I did that same thing, and I emptied like 40 shotgun shells into it, and it finally died.
Yeah, you can get lucky because the parasites are still there. You know whether you can see them or not.
You know where they are.
It's a nice touch. Yeah, or if you just I
mean, even if you don't know, you
take them out.
But it's the one later on that has the spikes on it where they trick you, where one is on the back.
Yeah, shoot its legs. Shoot its legs. It falls right on its face, and then you can just unload into its back.
But
I just the first time I saw that for those.
I didn't know where it was, and I'm like, I remember freaking the fuck out because I'm like, I killed it. What the fuck? Why want to die? So it is. It does make the tension go up because a good chunk of the island is just you, just blasting everything and fighting people. And then when you get into this quiet area, you first see the regenerators. Like you're not expecting.
Yeah, and then it just really slows down. which is nice. Again, calling back to the pacing part of that game.
Yeah, that seemed almost like the most kind of classic Resident Evil-y, that little laboratory area to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of wish I'd had a little more stuff like that. I don't know how you would pull it off in this game. Yeah, I think this game could have even stood for a little bit more of that kind of aesthetic, if not more of the actual enemies themselves, but like just the way that it slows down and you're going through like the like prison cells, and then one of them is like the bars are bent. You're like, oh shit, there's one in there where it's escaped. And then there's that meat locker, and you open that up, and the body bag is shaking inside of it.
Does everyone? I killed the body bag. Does it do anything if you do or don't?
You can kill it?
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I shot it. It didn't do anything. I mean,
I knifed it, and he just kind of stopped moving, and the music dies. So I assumed he would like jump out if I left, but I guess that's not the case.
Huh. I don't think nothing happens. You can just leave and it just shakes in there.
Huh.
Poor guy.
I think I might have done it before, but it doesn't. I didn't do this playthrough. Nothing happens.
Is this before or after the first island boss, the asshole that you kind of have to move through the 3 cargo buildings that are suspended?
He's way later.
Okay.
Or not way later, but he's after that.
Fucking hate that guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Least favorite boss.
Yeah, same. So as you progress through the island, the first part of the island is like you're on an island, then you're more in the labs, and then you get to where it starts getting weird, and that's with it and the Krauser stuff. And that's where you get like the Egyptian ruins that don't fit on here.
Yeah.
yeah.
So the lab makes sense. You know, the island being like a barrack island that looks like something out of the Cold War, all that makes sense. But it is when you start getting to like right before when everything gets really weird and the Krauser stuff.
I actually like the Krauser fight.
The It fight. So for those that don't know, the It fight is kind of like a tyrant creature essentially for this game, where you end up fighting him on like some kind of like cage where you have to go around and dodge train cars. Or you're on like a train car looking cage, and you have to dodge him, shoot buttons that open doors, hit switches, timer start, and you have to run. You do this about 3 times before you finish that part, and then you get into an actual fight with him.
Yeah.
And he can take a lot of damage.
Again, I saved my Magnum bullets for him. And
he gets the Magnum. Yeah.
Like you're supposed to use there's 3 barrels in that room that you're supposed to use 3 barrels to just mess him up. Which this time I just I got plenty of Magnum ammo. It took a lot of Magnum shots to take him down.
I did use a couple of the barrels, and I don't mind the fight itself. It's the bullshit right before it. Getting through those boxes. Cargo buildings.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's bad.
But yeah, I feel like he went down with 6 or 7 shots from the. I think I had the Killer 7 at that point.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always get that as soon as possible.
I use the Killer 7, but I just like the reference the Killer 7.
Yeah.
Because it's before the game came out, so this was the first like a reference to the game that was coming. That was already announced at this point.
Oh, cool.
I did not know
an
that.
episode about Killer 7 on the show.
I didn't either.
Check that out. Episode 35 or something. It's an old one, but it's in there. So and it's right after you get done fighting it. Then you get into all the Krauser stuff happens like right after that. They introduce the Krauser fight. Well, not Krauser fight, but the whole like the first Krauser cutscene.
The quick time.
I'm
glad we're talking about this.
Yeah. Quick time knife fight thing.
Yeah,
okay,
the first time Krauser. There's a lot of story to Krauser, but it's not all in this game. So what you do know about Krauser is in the little there's a little cutscene where they start talking. Yeah. And what I do know now is Krauser is working for Sadler. He was the one that kidnapped Ashley for Sadler, but he's actually not working for Sadler. He's actually working for what the hell are they called? They just have some generic name, the organization, which is what Wesker's part.
Really.
And that's what Ada's also working for the organization, but the organization doesn't trust Ada. So Wesker doesn't trust Ada, so he's having Krauser do it for him, but Ada's actually like double crossing both of them. It's a whole bunch of weird shit that's never explained that I was watching stuff that they're all part of the organization and they're all backstabbing each other.
Yeah,
so
it's inexplicable to anyone who doesn't know these people, for sure.
Yes. What were you gonna
say? Did Krauser get like lost on his way to like a like Metal Gear Solid game?
And it's so weird. He's got to play. They say he's American, but he doesn't see. He calls people comrade. Right, but he's referred to as American. Like I didn't trust him. Like you think I would trust an American? I think Sadler says about Krauser at one point.
And he even says,
he's
I'm
saying
American like you.
Yeah, right.
No, he feels. I mean, he seemed very interesting. Again, I don't really know much about him other than what I saw in the game, but he seemed almost a little out of place, as awesome as he was, because he's like a big musclehead guy with a knife.
He shows up so late in the game.
Yeah, but it's late. I felt like I missed something.
Well, so it's weird. Yeah, he's from the Dark Side Chronicles, a game that released 4 years after Resident Evil 4. So
which is the backstory to explain how him and Leon knew each other and to give something for him.
It seems like something you should know before you go into the game, like just the way it's just kind of brushed aside. Like, yeah, these guys know each other, obviously, but
I guess it's like an action movie. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, right, yeah. They got history. We're moving on.
Yeah.
So that knife fight, it's a whole quick time event cutscene. But the first time I got there, I still remember this. I got there and I put the controller down and I was eating fried chicken. And all of a sudden the quick time events came up and I died. And I always remember I was eating fried chicken during that first time.
I love it. It's so self-serious. It's like a sword fight with these tiny little swords. I was laughing so hard. Like, it just slows down and zooms in on their little Bowie knives, like scraping at each other. What are we doing here, guys?
And there's a whole lot. I mean, and that's what all this almost all the conversation with Krauser that happens is in this one little thing.
Yeah, that's the only information that we get on him at all. I think he has one other cutscene where he like talks to Ada, and that's it.
Which is basically, I don't trust you. I don't trust you either. And then we're on to the fight.
But then it leads up to, again, a fight that almost seems like it should be in like Metal Gear Solid, because he's like jumping in and out of stuff.
And it's Ada that shoots him, that then shows she's not working with him to save Leon. And you see Ada about 3 or 4, I think 4 times in this game, where there's one around this part where you choke her because the Plagas are, starting to wake up. And there's another part where you see her in a garden in the castle, and then she drops her glasses and faces, and smoke screens.
Explosive glasses.
And then she gives you a ride in the boat and then ditches you. And like Leon has like spent
that part was great.
So Leon has spent a total amount of 10 minutes of his life with this woman spread out over 8 years. And he is like desperately in love with her, and I do not get it.
As a guy who never played 2, when I saw this game, it didn't confuse me as a guy who's beaten 2 and 2 Remake, where I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
It's more confusing if you know their history than if you don't.
Yeah,
because you assume they have some sort of deep history.
Yeah,
you just think there's something there.
Again, they've spent at this point, I think they've spent maybe 10 minutes in the same place at the same time. It is confusing why he is simping for this woman so hard.
Yeah. And like,
oh my God, it's stupid.
And she has put a gun to his head, I think 6 out of those 10 minutes. I think she's got a gun to his head.
Absolutely.
And he's in love with her. It is so bizarre.
Hey, sometimes we're attracted to people that want to kill us, I guess.
As story checks out on that. I would be lying if I said I hadn't had a woman put a gun to my head a few times.
I can believe that, I completely can believe that. Yeah, you do live in Texas, the land where everyone just drops handgun ammo, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, people don't drop handgun ammo anymore. It's getting really expensive.
Oh, dude, it is so hard to find right now.
That's what I've heard.
I can't even fire warning shots anymore. It's horrible.
So, also on the island, another thing that, the whole Krauser stuff. So after you have all that, and you go through, the whole Krauser part.
Let me bring up one last thing about Jack Krauser. Is at the very end of that fight, he's like, "Look at my ultimate power," and it's just like a big arm. And like Leon should have been like, dude, I fought William Birkin. That guy was like 3 stories tall. He was covered in spikes. He had a giant eye coming out of his ass.
Leon is not impressed by Krauser's
like, I have the most ultimate of power. And he's like, is that it? It's like a feathery arm, man.
I've got shit to do. Get out of here.
And then knife, and then it's over. But I just thought that was funny. Is it's like that was the big thing, dude. Is you got one kind of messed up arm.
And I also don't get it. You could feel like you were saying earlier, a Metal Gear fight in general, because you run around the first part where he shoots at you and you fight him. Then you run around another part, he shoots at you, and then you find the final fight in the tower where he shoots at you again, or he doesn't shoot at you, he just tries to stab you.
Yeah.
It does feel kind of Metal Gear-y.
Yeah, it feels like it's completely out of a Metal Gear Solid. And that's just, I think it was still fresh in my mind from Snake Eater. So I'm like, oh no, this is kind of one of those type of fights.
And apparently the trick to beating him is to knife his legs when he tries to hit you in that fight.
Yeah, I
always
put the
shot his
knife out
legs.
and just stabbed him over and over again when he came at me and he died.
I shot him with the Magnum in the feet, but
Nice.
it does a trick. But I hate that fight. That is, to me, that is the worst fight in this game. I just don't. Oh, I'm a professional because I beat this game once on professional a long time, like 12, 13 years ago. Never fucking again. But that fight is impossible on professional.
I can see that.
Yeah, that would be hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also Captain Quark, the voice actor for Krauser, Captain Quark, and I knew I recognized it, so I had to go look up, and that's you can kind of hear it if you really listen closely.
I didn't know that. Huh. Okay, cool. I learned something new. And then after you get done with the Krauser fight, I mean, the game ends very quick. Like, it goes very quickly. That's when you finally get Ashley back again for the last time. You fight a few enemies, you get the Plagas taken out of you, and get to the final boss fight, which is Sadler.
And then there's the big helicopter guy.
Oh, yeah, never mind. I forgot. You're right.
Mike! What I played at the very beginning.
Yes. I forgot about that. I blocked it out. I don't like that scene.
Poor Mike.
The real hero.
Which Mike, you never see his face, but she's like, hey, I'm from Brooklyn. We're going to shoot some bad guys over here.
Next beer's on me, Mike. Wait, Mike?
No. Leon's best friend. I think it's
because you're right. That's a whole just
about 7 minutes, and then that was it.
Shoot everybody scene with a helicopter, and you're shooting and they're blowing up stuff, and I didn't care for that scene as much.
Mike was only 2 days from retirement.
Almost had his pension, poor son of a bitch.
Oh, and there's a scene in this island I want to talk about. I wonder if anyone else has the same vibe that I get out of it. So there's a scene when you rescue Ashley at one point on the island where you find her in a cell and you see on a camera there's two guys in the room and then they knock out the camera, but by the time you get there they're gone. I always wonder if that's like an insinuated rape scene or something. It was always really weird and creepy to me. It's like, why is this here?
So my takeaway from that was, here's what I didn't understand. All right, so Leon walks up and this camera's just on. He doesn't do anything. It's just showing. So clearly it was on before he even gets there. And then they look up and see the dot, and they're like, "Oh, fucking! There's a camera here." But the camera was there all along. Leon had no part in the camera,
right?
And then he somehow deducts Ashley's location from like the single shot of the camera because he's like, "Oh, they fucked up. Here she is," and it zooms in on your map. It's like
I never understood that scene.
It never makes it makes no sense whatsoever. There was kind of a dark implication. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I don't like it, and I'm just like, why? I don't know if I'm just insinuating things or that's what they were trying to say, because when you get to her, after you get back to her, they're gone and she acts a little differently. And I was always like, okay, maybe just me.
I just thought the implication was like, oh shit, like Leon can somehow tell where she is because of this. Like that's the issue they have.
Yeah,
with the camera.
I just thought of it as like that classic 80s action movie thing where like the bad guys have him and then they shoot out the camera or whatever. I mean, again,
my brain's sick.
I didn't pay it that much time or that much thought at the time.
I've seen it 10 times.
Yeah, I did have that same kind of thought. Remember, no Russian.
I wonder if Krauser's supposed to be Russian and they changed it to American because, again, Red Beret.
It feels very Russian,
Yeah.
He does, but they go out of their way to call him an American.
Yeah.
I don't get that. He's big, he's buff. He makes me think more Russian.
He looks like, what's his name from the 80s?
Lundgren?
Yes.
Yeah,
he has
strong
very
Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one thing I've always thought, that he was supposed to be Russian and they just changed it or something because it's like that, like you in that whole knife fight. I'm American, just like you.
I mean, his name is Jack. Jack's a pretty American name, besides it being French.
And I think we should talk about the Osmond Sadler fight, which is the final fight after you get done with all this part.
This is the worst.
It's a Resident Evil final boss fight.
It's just a disappointing fight. It's just
they all are. Yeah.
I thought it was pretty easy, like comparatively.
Yeah, it was easy. It's just kind of like a waste. Like I did all this to get to this point, and I kind of wanted to show one last big spectacle thing. Even it had multiple parts to it that like showed me that I was fighting for something, and like the scales were just getting ever increasingly harder and harder. And then this ending boss fight, just like, all right, here's an easy one.
Yeah, what really sucks is if you missed your rocket launcher shot that Ada gives you, because that's just like that's it. If you miss that,
you can miss that.
Absolutely.
Because
if you do, then
like a cutscene. Yeah.
Huh. Okay, I never missed it before because it's
I
simple.
didn't miss mine. That one,
as long as you're aiming anywhere near, I think it basically gives it to you. But if you just shoot off in the opposite direction, you're just screwed.
Okay.
Huh. Okay.
Didn't know that.
I didn't either. You taught me something new. Well, that fight, I don't have an issue really with this fight. You can, if you have the Chicago typewriter, which is a secret weapon you don't get unless you beat the game, you can just go through and just shoot his body a whole bunch and kill him that way.
Okay.
But not with normal weapons. I don't think the amount of damage you have to do is ridiculous. You have to shoot the eyes on his fighter legs.
Yeah.
And then by shooting them, then you're able to get him wounded. Then you run up and do a quick time event and you slash him in the eye with your knife.
Yeah.
I do like
what I did.
Has anyone played the Separate Ways kind of add-on? Are we gonna? Is that?
I don't want to dig into it too much in this one. I might do a mini on it.
Yeah, there are some cool touches though. My favorite being, Leon's sweet jacket from the beginning. You can find one of the villagers wearing it in Ada's first chapter.
And I actually own that same jacket too. It is.
I want that jacket. I've always wanted to buy that.
It's a dope jacket. Let's be honest.
I think Mike's seen it. It's the profile from my Facebook.
Oh, I never paid attention to that.
Yeah,
I've seen that many times. I never realized that was a jacket. Okay.
Yep. With that white fur trim on it.
I've always wanted to buy it. I might
bomber jacket. Oh yeah.
He loses it when you pass out and get the plagas in you. So clearly, one of the Ganados was just like, "This is a fucking sweet jacket. I'm taking this."
Well, if it's like mine, it's a Carhartt. If it's like mine, and that is not a cheap jacket, so I feel for him that he lost that.
That's why I don't have it. That's why I never bought it. I've always wanted to buy it, but I think I looked it up before and it wasn't cheap, so I didn't buy it.
Yeah, Spain can get very cold.
It's good. Again, you want to dress in layers there, so smart, good for that Ganado.
He had a skin tight T-shirt on. His nips must have been bleeding by the end of that game.
Perky.
I always find it amusing too in that part where Sadler had captured Ada and he has her just tied up, hanging from a crane.
Just for
shits and giggles, huh?
But why is she hanging from a crane?
When did she wire the explosives? I think is the better question.
That's in the assignment Ada.
Okay.
That's in the Separate Ways campaign.
Oh, okay. All right. So that is at least explained. So that's before she got tied up.
Yes, the whole Separate Ways, to give you the very brief version, it shows you what she's doing throughout the entire game, which came out in the PS2 version, and that explains any of the holes that you have, like the whole bingo thing, all that's explained.
She's the one who rings the church bell in the very beginning to kind of draw the Ganados. Yeah, it's pretty cool how it kind of ties in.
Well, yeah, if you end up doing that separate thing on this, let me know, and I will totally play through all that stuff.
Okay, we probably will, but I want to get Mike on that one, so that's why I'm waiting on that.
Oh, no, that's fine. Just let me know, because I would totally jump back in to do mercenaries and all
that. Fuck mercenaries, but yeah.
Mercenaries. Just to try it out. I didn't have time for any of that stuff. I just had time to finish the game.
Yeah, you mercenaries. We'll probably do something extra on that, on all that stuff. Cool. Mainly Separate Ways, but everything's explained, which is cool. And the Sadler fight. There's not a whole lot to it. You can use barrels. You can blow up to help damage him, but I used a couple barrels and I still had to shoot the eyes and keep stabbing the eye a few times. It took me a little while.
Yeah. After such the great boss fights throughout, it is a bit of a letdown for sure.
But it is normal Resident Evil that you have a final boss fight in that game. And it ends the way all Resident Evil games have to end. Rocket launcher to the face.
Big explosion and then right off. Into the sunset. That's right. I feel like that's everything. It is like rocket launcher, timer to explode right off into the sunset, right?
So this
Not
is
before Ashley can proposition Leon for some life-saving sex.
Which he friend zones her because he's obsessed with Ada. Right on, my guy.
And then he hits on Hunnigan and he gets friend zoned by Hunnigan, kind of.
Which he's like which I didn't get is he's like, you look so much better without those glasses. It was very She's All That, if you're a fan of She's All That. Where the nerdy girl takes off her glasses and then the whole school notices she's hot.
It's like, oh my God, she's attractive this whole
whole
time.
How do you, I do not get how anybody doesn't think that that those glasses make her look hotter. I call it the
Laney Boggs effect.
The Sarah Palin effect? No, that's too political. The Laney Boggs effect. That's much better. But and that's also, to me, I thought the worst part of the entire game was that friggin' jet ski.
It's terrible.
Oh man,
I died.
I
maybe
died so
25
many times on that jet ski.
Oh my God. And I knew that was going to be the very last part of that game, which made it even more frustrating. It was one of the few parts of that game where I actually looked it up and I'm like, is there something that I'm missing? And I get to the very end and sure enough, it's the last thing that you do. And the walkthrough was just like, fucking get good, scrub.
Yeah, there's
like,
no trick to it.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, that sucks. And there didn't seem to be a lot of rhyme or reason to whether or not the waves would get you or whether or not you could turn in time.
Yeah.
I had a hard time. I died with it multiple times this time too.
Like I said, probably 25 times.
Ooh, okay. I was like 4, but
like last night, I was just so frustrated, just hitting the rocks or getting taken by the waves over and over and over again.
If you let up at all on the fuel or going forward, you're done. You cannot. You have to hold down the entire time and just memorize what you can do.
If you miss that first ramp, Leon hits like an explosive pipe and they just like explode. I didn't even know that you could do that until like my 50th.
That's my canon ending for the game, actually.
Instead of getting there and just hitting a pipe and exploding.
Dying on the fucking jet ski.
I thought it was a really cool part when I first played this game back in 2005.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as cool anymore.
No, not at all.
And then you have the stupid line with Ashley. Isn't she a minor too in this game?
I think she's 17.
Yeah,
at least she's hitting at you and not the other way around.
I thought she was like a college student. I thought.
Yeah, she's 20.
Okay.
She's like
she's 20. Okay.
Yeah.
Which how old would Leon be? Because he was like a rookie cop 3 years ago, and now he's like head of the Secret Service, presumably.
Well,
he's not the head of it. He's just
Raccoon was what, like 6 years?
Okay, so
6 years ago.
6 years before the game.
So like that's still it's weirdly older than Ashley, right? Because he would have gone through academy. He'd been like 22 when he got. So Leon's
Ashley
like 28.
20 in the game.
So Leon's probably like 28 if you're going by like real.
Yeah, but
that's a little weird. Yeah,
it's at least it wasn't him hitting on her.
No, Leon did friend zone her, which was right for him because she clearly has some kind of like Stockholm here.
Absolutely, yeah. And she's just like, well, a girl has to try to,
How
give it a try
really tell she's a college student?
Has like she ever come back in any of the games? I feel like she should. Is she in?
She's
6
not in 5, 6, or 7. I can say
she's in Revelations.
I don't believe
she's in Revelations.
Okay.
Really?
Is she? I thought she was.
I need to go back and play those. I still haven't.
I've never played Revelations enough to tell you.
I have not played 6 or either of the Revelations.
I've played 6. She's not in 6 for
Okay.
sure.
Because Sherry's in 6.
Yeah, which I feel like Ashley definitely could get the Sherry Birkin treatment and like come back and she's like a warrior goddess and she can like kick dudes' heads off. I think that would be a good arc.
I'm for a game where she has to escort Leon.
That'd be hilarious.
Because she's not in 7. I've never played Revelations 1 or 2. I never played Revelation 2 at all, but I played Revelations 1 for like a couple hours. But I don't think she's in that one, but I could be wrong.
And she's not an 8 unless she's actually one of the Lycans, which would be amazing.
Yeah,
There's like an Easter egg that I missed. I would love that if like one of the Lycans showed up wearing a sweater around their waist and oh my God, it's Ashley.
I'm not sure if any of the other Resident Evils even mention who the president is or even gets into the
They
kind
do
of
in
political
6,
aspect.
if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So I think you have something to do with him in 6, I think, but again, my memory is rough on 6. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about 6, even though I played all the way through it.
Okay. All right. Any last things you want to say about the game before we go to questions, memories?
I don't think so. Did we talk loadouts? Like what everyone used?
No, we didn't talk loadout yet. We should talk loadout. So every time I play this game, I play the same way. I get the Blacktail handgun, I get the Striker, I get the semi-auto rifle, I get a Magnum, usually the Broken Butterfly, and then that's it. And that's all I play with every time. Till this time where I use the red.
Except for the red. Yeah, red 9 is what I go for.
Yeah, it's the most powerful handgun. I did not know until this past week when people made fun of my inventory, because I did that on purpose, by the way. I purposely made my inventory. I didn't give a shit I normally when I play this game legit, like from new game, I actually keep it organized. This time I just didn't give a shit because I didn't have to.
I like the stock. So the red 9, I think, is the only gun that gives you a stock. So it's just
and the TMP does.
Oh, okay.
And the Matilda does, right? After you get it.
I've never used it.
I haven't either, but I saw the picture of it, and it looks like it had a stock on it. It's like you can now buy That and the infinite rocket launcher, which I kind of want to play second time just to buy that.
You don't want to buy different rocket launcher. You want to beat Assignment Ada or Separate Ways and play the Chicago typewriter because that's an infinite machine gun.
Chicago typewriter is the way to go.
Nice.
Yeah.
The game becomes trivial, completely
In the
trivial.
best way possible too.
Yes.
Like it's just so much fun playing with the Chicago typewriter.
So Cody, you had mentioned earlier you use the mine thrower, Ashley?
Yeah. I found the mine thrower really useful for the mounted guns because I could pop out, shoot it anywhere around them, and it would stick to it, and then I would duck back by cover, and then it would. I wouldn't have to get it close to them. Does that make any sense?
Do you trigger the mines, or are they like proximity mines? How does that?
They're like time mines. So the mines are on like a dart. So it'll stick in whatever. Like it'll stick into walls. It'll stick into enemies.
Oh wow!
So why it's great for the mounted guns is that you're kind of pinned down, and there's like a half second where I guess they're like reloading it. I guess right.
I've never used it ever.
I never used it either.
Yeah, so then
Maybe one.
So then you will then pop out. It'll land anywhere on that mounted gun. You know, one of the two big shields on either side of the gun itself, and that mine will just stick into that and then blow up the guy that's firing.
Nice.
Yeah,
that seems pretty helpful actually.
Yeah, it was perfect for that. I think other than that, I mainly used it for the regenerator fights because if you stick them right in the middle, it'll blow up all of the little parasites around it because it'll
really
into it itself.
Cool.
Yeah. So I did that. I think those are the two main times that I.
What about ammo? I don't recall seeing any mine ammo. I guess maybe because I never bought the mine launcher.
Yeah, it's a rare drop. I think I picked it up maybe 2 or 3 times. You will pick it up about as much as you'll pick up Magnum from the enemies themselves.
Interesting.
So it's pretty rare. So I don't think I had more than 3 mine darts my whole playthrough, but I never really had to use more than.
Okay, I think I bought it once, but it's something I stay away from.
No, I would. It definitely. I can see where it is useful. I could see it being useful for groups because it sticks into someone. So do you like picture what I'm saying here?
Yes.
Is like the explosive is on a dart itself. So if you stick the guy in the middle and everybody crowds around him, it'll blow up whole group. So it's pretty fun in that way. There's maybe like a 3-second timer on it. Shockingly fun gun to use, and I found out no one else ever seems to play with it for some reason.
No, I never have really.
When do you unlock that?
Oh, I think I got that it was fairly early. I know I used it in the castle because there's that thing where you're in the art room and the guy in red keeps trying to run away from you. I just stuck a dart in him and he ran with the dart still in him and then blew up and it blew him back to me. It was pretty fun.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, you get it right in the castle.
Amazing.
I just always skip it.
And looking online, it looks like most folks skip that too. But I'm like a guy where I want to have one of each. So I had TMP, Red 9, Striker, Mine Thrower, Killer 7, semi-auto, all by the end of it. And about at least, I always try to keep one of each of the grenades, and then I just throw the rest of them as soon as it makes sense to. Set them on fire, blow them up with shrapnel, just throw them out there.
Yeah, for sure. I'm the same way.
I just sell them all.
I try to just keep a pistol. Yeah, I try to just keep a pistol and a shotgun and a couple eggs and a couple fish.
Whoa, you can pick up fish as an item?
Yeah, in one part.
Yeah, in the village you can shoot fish in the water and pick them up, and you can sell them for a lot of money.
Oh shit!
Yeah, there's like a large bass, and then there's a bunch of smaller bass. Yeah. And anyone that knows anything about me, I love fishing mini games and fishing games just in and of themselves. So the fact that this had a fishing mini game, which is what I call it when you throw one of your frags right into the pond full of fish and then pick up all of the dead fish. I call that a fishing mini game, and automatically bumps this game up a full, let's say, 3 points.
I have a game for you. It's called Near Replicant.
Really? Okay, this is a new fishing game.
Oh my god, you can do a lot of fishing in this game.
Hell yeah.
It's not a fishing game, no, but okay. I never played Nier Replicant. I never played any Nier game yet, but I got to remember that one day on the show.
Nier Automata is the only one I played, but it's a masterpiece.
One day.
The Nier games are pretty good.
What was your layout for this? Or loadout, I should say.
Well, I just spoke. I was the I usually do like a pistol and a shotgun, and then sometimes a rifle because of the regenerators. So I had to get the scope on that. But if I ever want to have like a very serious like game, I try to just do the Red 9 and then the riot gun for as much as I can, because the Red 9 every time.
Yeah, I'm gonna use it from now on once I finally tried it. I can't believe I never used it before. I
tried using the TMP one time, and it's not my type of gun. I just don't think it's that type of game where it's a spray and pray.
It's really good if you for like an ammo conserving run, because you can 1 or 2 shots to the head with that. You get a lot more TMP ammo than you do handgun ammo, so you can kind of stagger and knife pretty easily with the TMP. I think that's how it's best. But it's a pain in the ass, to play that way.
I wouldn't want to play that way.
Yeah, that's for harder runs. I think.
Probably, because there's a lot of different ways that people play this game.
That's one of the beauties of it, for sure.
All right, I think we're gonna go on to memories. I did get a few, not as many as I thought I would get for this, but I did post in like 6 different groups. So I'm not gonna read them all, of course. I'm gonna read some. So we're gonna start with I watched the entire Overblood Super replay, and first one I got from Sergio Silva. Played this for the first time when GI did the Super replay. I was planning to play along with them, but I just couldn't put it down after I started and finished really fast. I love the intense, non-stop pacing of it.
Yeah, one of the best paced games maybe of all time.
And from Henry Chan, friend of the show, was on the Transistor episode. Played Resi 4 for the first time in 2016, had never touched it before, and was floored by the opening village set piece. Hands down, one of the best game intros and set pieces ever. Chainsaw Man is a terrifying threat. Barricading the house is sick. The shotgun feels incredible, and it's high tension all the way through. Yeah,
agreed.
Yeah, it's just such an amazing set piece. Like that's how you make a damn video game.
it ushered in a new era of like a genre of game. I mean, it's as impactful as any opening ever. Personally, it's right up there with like, I don't know. I always think of Dead Space 2 as one of the best openings, and you don't get that opening without Resident Evil 4 blazing that path first.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we said this earlier. You don't get a lot of games without Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally true.
And this one from Andrew Gerties. As Zolani Stewart once tweeted, everything is Resident Evil 4. It is the game. Few modern titles have had such an influence on the entire industry as it has, just like we're saying.
Exactly.
From Jesse
Gears of War, Dead Space, Mass Effect, that's all Resident Evil.
Discovering the Chicago typewriter for the very first time. Oh, there's another game that this game inspired. Cold Fear for PS2. No one's talking about that game.
Oh.
That's a fun game.
I never played it, but I want to.
It's bad, but because it's such a knockoff. But it's a game. You're on a ship. It's kind of cool. It's just if they had more time and better people making that game, it could have been a really cool game.
It's always been on my list. It was actually supposed to be on the show at different points throughout when we put together the season, but it never actually made it into a final cut. People always just back out.
Yeah.
One day I want to play it though, because it looks like RE4 on a ship.
And there's tons of probably like forgotten games that this inspired as well. Games like Dark Void.
What are you talking about?
I'm dead serious. You know Dark Void, where like
I own it.
90% of that game is just you going down hallways shooting stuff in that third person, and then you get like 20 fun minutes actually on the jetpack that it promised to give you.
A Dark Sector.
You got the Evil Within, which is basically
which is and then Dark Sector with that big glove, that spiky frisbee.
I'm surprised you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, dude,
it's the prequel to.
Is that a prequel to anything? Or you?
Well, it's like a same world as the Warframe.
Dark Sector is
sort of. Well, I think it's the same developer, and they kind of use some of the same. Like the glaive actually makes it into Dark Sector as like a weapon for a class.
Okay.
Into Warframe.
Yeah, I think it's the same developer.
Dark Sector is a really, I felt, unknown like PS3 360 game that I have beaten twice and really liked for some reason.
Yeah.
It was always just the prototypical like Xbox 360 kind of bark and bend game to me. Not that it was bad, but
yeah,
just,
but
just
like, yeah,
it's not
that's
good.
what you picture. Yeah.
prototypical, like
Pretty
one
sure
of those
it's not
kind
a
of
good game.
shovelware games. Even though it is a decent game in its own right.
Yeah.
And from the Resident Evil veterans group, all I got from Tyrone Robert was overall just hated the regenerators with a passion.
That's fair.
Got to know how to fight them. Think outside the box.
And from the official Laser Time community, I got two. One from Todd Harrison. Hey, it's that dog. Okay.
Oh.
And from Steven Schellenberger, I remember the double disc thing they had to do with the GameCube version. You had to switch as Leon was going to the island after beating Talazar. Also, Hunk's neck snap moving mercenary was insanely fun when you stun grenade a giant group of enemies.
I got to go back and try it.
So here's a question. Are there any other elements like the dog, like optional kind of gameplay benefits?
Not I can think of.
It's pretty front loaded. Once you get to the castle, there's really not a lot of environmental interaction that happens.
Yeah.
And then once you get to the island, it's just straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought so.
But that dog, as all of us know, is the best boy. He is a very, very good boy.
the true
in that
hero
boss
of the
fight.
game. Yeah.
Unlike Ada, all he wants to do is help.
Good
the
boy.
only real ally in this game.
Ada don't want to help you. Oh, and then from the Nintendo GameCube enthusiastic group, I actually got a lot of comments. I'll read some of these. First one from Kevin Haggerty. What are you buying? Okay, and I didn't get this, but now I do thanks to you guys. Francisco Marquez said, kill the merchant on New Game Plus, hard mode, pistol, and knife only. I'm like, oh, kill the merchant. Now I get that reference. Oh, the merchant doesn't come back.
He
That's
goofed
a tough
up.
break right there.
And I agree with this person from Justin Miller. Can't wait for the remake in VR to be finished. Going to be wild. They're actually making this game in VR.
Yeah, that's what they've been saying.
Wow.
And I really want to play that.
Chainsaw in first person is going to give me some serious night terrors, and I'm here for it.
When I seen VR years ago when it was first being developed, there was this weird treadmill that was I always saw with VR headsets. And this would be a perfect game for that treadmill because you could walk with it and then stop, and that could actually help you aim. But man, I can't wait for this game in VR. This is going to be another way for me to play this game.
It looks really good.
Like fun. Yeah,
that's why
when they put it on a fucking toaster, I'll play it.
I mean, they'll keep re-releasing this game. I mean, Capcom likes money. They're not going to stop.
No, I'll keep
Toaster
buying
port
it.
coming up soon.
I bought this on 6 systems by now, so yeah, I will be too. Even though and from Dustin Hong, first time I played this is the PS2 version at launch. It was such an amazing experience. Never had a GameCube growing up. Now I just got started collecting for the GameCube, but I did beat it on several versions now: PS2, PC, Wii, Switch, PS3, and the phone. See, everyone buys the game on everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
And from Jordan Miller, my all-time favorite game. So much nostalgia behind it as well. I was 13 when it came out. My brothers and my cousin would watch me play it. I beat it 20 plus times on 3 gaming systems, most being on the Cube. In my opinion, the biggest accomplishment was unlocking the hand cannon after getting 5 stars in the mercenary mission.
Wow. I think the only modern system that this didn't come out was the original Xbox.
Yeah, it didn't come out on that, but it's come out ever since.
But I think everything since then it's come out.
That
it's
and
been
the
a gaming
Wii U.
system. Was there not a Wii U version of that? It seems like there should be.
Well, it didn't last long enough, the Wii.
Yeah,
I own a Wii U. I should look that up.
There is a Wii U edition of Resident Evil 4.
Then there you go. So I think it is only Xbox is the only one that hadn't come out.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it actually got the GameCube version, which is a bit of a weird piece of trivia, not the HD upgrade.
Huh.
Huh. Oh, I mean, on the eShop, you could buy it?
You could buy it on the eShop, correct? And it was the original version.
Wow.
This is why you listen to this podcast.
Yeah, it's my mom phone.
Trivia.
You
And
get
from-
these real facts.
Mitch Mitchell. This is considered a classic now, because I called it a classic in my post. Time really does fly by so fast that the new RE still, to me, haven't had a chance to finish it yet. I guess a few years past. It's different than the usual RE, but it's a nice change. I dig it. So I think it's his first time playing it.
16 years, homie.
I mean, that to me, I consider anything not current gen retro at this point, even though I know people don't agree with me on that, but that's what I call retro.
Think about this.
16 years old at this point.
Yeah.
If you were playing this game, this game is probably as now to when this game came out is probably, and I would need to check on this because I don't want to be wrong. I'm going to look something up.
That never happens on this show.
Yep, hang on. Okay, so right now to when RE4 came out, which is about 16 years, is almost the same amount of time as when RE4 came out to when Mario 3 came out. That's 1988.
I mean,
that puts it into perspective.
Yep. So
people get mad about dumb things, but
so and in 2005, you would say Mario 3 was a retro game. So yes, this is a classic retro game. You are just old, and not you, but the listener to this. Yes, you are that old.
Well, I'm old too at this point. So
welcome to your 30s, man.
Mm-hmm. It sucks. Really does. All right, from Wade Miller, currently playing through it right now, just getting to the church. Damn, I forgot how much I get into this game. And here's a good one. From Michael Firethorn. To this day, the merchant still calls me stranger. He has met me hundreds of times.
That's an awesome name, by the way. Fucking all-time name right there.
Oh, Michael Firethorn?
Michael Firethorn.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, that is a pretty dope name.
I hope he listens to this episode now.
Yeah.
So, from Christopher Vagnazzi, I replayed this on PS2, GameCube, and Wii recently. All component on CRT. Wii is the clear winner, in my honest opinion.
Which is what I've heard is like Wii is the best version of that game from what I've heard. So
yeah, that's what a lot of people say.
It's a fun way to play it, but like once you get to like the castle, it gets a little hard. It's a lot going on at once.
Very
and
gimmicky.
having a
some of those would
controller.
be tough with motion controls.
Yeah, having the controller makes me feel a lot more confident playing the game than with the Wii remote. But it's fun. It is a fun way to play that game, which makes me really excited for the virtual reality version.
I just can't believe they're releasing this game again. All right, here's a good one. From the last group I'm going to read from the Giant Bomb group, I just have a couple and then we'll be done with this section. From Neil Fowler, I played this for the first time on the Switch and loved it. It's still a fantastic game to this day, and I love how goofy this whole thing is. It's so weird to me that the first time you experience this 2005 GameCube game is on the Switch. But hey, you know what? At least you're playing it.
Power to you.
Yeah, again, I just played it for the first time, just this past week. So don't feel bad.
And here's another one right now on Xbox. So if anyone's listening,
not when they hear this,
it's probably true.
This comes out next week. From Charlton,
it used to be on sale.
Villavez, having played it for the first time on a PS4, the opening hour was rough compared to later entries in terms of controls and graphics, but eventually I liked the combat and nonsensical plot. What doesn't age well are the QTEs and that freaking Salazar battle. Escorting Ashley really was an issue for me. I never had to hide her somewhere. Yeah,
Salazar did not bother me all that much, but yes, I think I was done with him in like 90 seconds. But those QuickTime events can go can what's a nice way of saying like jump in the lake?
What the hell?
Go
perfect.
Themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just going to read two more comments and we're done with this section. From Sam Wilder, I tried to love this game, but I just can't get a handle on the aiming. I got as far as beating whatever monster was in the lake. I just couldn't make myself push on after that. I did once beat one of the QTEs that my friend was struggling with on my first ever try. I think it involved some goober and maybe ropes. Can't remember more than that. You're missing out.
Yeah. No, I was that same way, man. This is, I think, my 6th or 7th time trying to play it, and I finally powered through. It's worth getting over those really janky having to hold down the trigger and press A to shoot. It's definitely worth it.
Got its own stride. It needs to hit.
Exactly.
Kind of click.
Yeah. Once you get into the rhythm of it, it's one of the best controlling games because you have very precise control over what you do until the camera decides to just fuck you over.
Right.
Camera's a little wonky. Yeah.
All right. And last comment from Austin Morgan. People always complain about the escort mission aspect of this game, but I feel like the most interesting thing about it is gameplay-wise is how it forces you to manage/prioritize various threats and be aware of everything around you in the big fights when Ashley is involved. I like the water room. I got a greater appreciation for that kind of thing after playing Doom Eternal. Don't like the puzzles in this one, but everything else is good. Some really cool enemy designs and very memorable levels separate ways was fun too.
Oh, we never really talked about the small little puzzles that happen.
No, we haven't. We should talk about that.
Yeah,
I enjoyed them for the most part.
Yeah, I think this was the best puzzles of any of the RE games that I played. I feel like they were just challenging enough to be fun, and it gives you a little breath of fresh air, and then you get to move on. I didn't find them too hard.
Which one stuck out just to you guys, like being a good puzzle? I like the light one where you have to rotate the 3 colored lights.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah,
in the church. I like that one.
No, I was just gonna say I like the one where you flipped the like paintings around to make like the fewest number.
Oh yeah, the
number of
sacrifices.
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought that was a fun one.
Yeah, that was neat.
The environmental puzzles of being with the dogs and like the small little hedge mage.
The hedge maze was a really cool section. Super cool. I fucking hated the sliding puzzle. I feel like it might be around that area or maybe a little bit later. You had to slide. It's like a 3x3 grid where you have to slide it. Oh, I fucking hate that thing.
I had no problem with it this playthrough, but I know I've had problems before.
Yeah.
It's not. It can be challenging if you just don't get it right, but I just got lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that the game gave you rewards and like small little jewels, but also that the fact you could go around and find certain treasures that could be combined with other treasures. And like the small little puzzles were like when you get to the farm section in the village and you can see the small little brass locket. If you shoot it first, it falls into the dirty water and you get a dirty locket. But if you shoot the board that holds the well water lid, it closes the lid and then you can shoot the locket. And then now you have a clean, much more valuable item.
Yeah, that's a great touch.
Yeah, that small little like design choice is just so cool because the first time I see it, it's like, oh, cool. There's a item. I'm just going to get the item.
Sell it for a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really neat touch.
The game is just full of little neat touches all over the place. So much passion went into this fucking game.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree.
And I think that should bring us to Shelf Stacker Box.
Do it.
And for those that are newer to the show or have been shelf means something you really like, stack means something you're kind of you're not so sure of, and box means something you don't like. Simple way to put it. Stack being the gray area. And Nick, why don't you go first?
Man, this is one of the greatest games of all time. I don't really have a lot of negative things to say about this. Like, I'll put this on the shelf. I mean, I have it for like 7 fucking consoles. So, yeah, if it comes out on the 3DS, I'll fucking buy it.
It won't be coming for 3DS. I'm surprised it didn't, to be honest with you.
Right?
Yeah, I totally would have bought it.
Yeah.
But probably still would have been an amazing game.
So it's going on the shelf?
Going on the shelf.
All right. How about you, Cody?
Box, totally. No, dude. Oh no, this game is dope. It's the first time that I ever actually finished it. Like I said, I don't think I'd played more than 30 to 45 minutes or so. The first 6 or 7 times that I tried, I just could not get past the control scheme. And that's saying a lot because I finished 5 long before I finished this. Absolutely love 5, love 7. I really dig 8. I love 2, 3, 2 make, 3 make. And I am an apologist for both 0 and Code Veronica.
This game goes right next to 6 on the top.
6 is oddly missing from the.
I have actually never played 6 either because I've heard it is terrible. That's one of the few.
I'm an apologist. I'm a 6 apologist.
I
cannot wait to actually play 6. I am going to jump into it at some point when I'm feeling really bad about myself, and I'm going to
play it in co-op. I highly recommend a co-op.
Just wait a couple years. I'll reach out to you.
Yeah, and we will play it for this show. And then I actually just played 1 for the first time back in January of this year, like original PlayStation 1, and it holds up. It holds up so well.
It does.
Like I was so shocked playing it for the first time this year. 1 is really good. 4 is now probably in my top 3 RE games of all time. I am a total fanboy coming back or going to this for the first time 16 years later. I can tell you that your nostalgia is not wrong. This game really is that damn good. It's flawed, but it is good almost because of its flaws, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Absolutely.
So this is a total shelf. Not quite Snake Eater, where it's one of my top 10 favorite games of all time now, but it's probably in the top 20 now. It is that good. If you are somehow like me and you've never played it, literally you can get it for any console. It's probably $15 right now. Buy it.
It's on sale all the time too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And how about you, Blake? Shelf Stacker Box.
Oh, we're bypassing the traditional paradigm with this one. This one's going straight in the display case. In the vault for this bad boy. This all-time classic.
I think I did that for Alice, where I said not only is this on the shelf, I'm going to buy the poster for this game and then put it on my wall, which is like even beyond shelf.
Yeah, this is you keep a mint copy separate just for yourself.
I wish I could go back in time and find the chainsaw controller for this game.
Oh yeah,
because I heard it's the worst way to play the game. But that chainsaw
with the Guitar Hero
so stupid.
Sorry, I want to see how much that costs right now.
Well, I just looked up the demo disc. That's $50 on eBay. I used to own that, but apparently I must have gotten rid of it or thrown it away at some point because I don't have it anymore.
Oh, here's one on sale for the low price, $499.95.
Oh my God.
How many passata is that to the exchange rate?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not good with my outdated Spanish currency.
USD to passata.
Yeah, I don't really have a converter for.
We can find one on Google real fast, but I don't want to look. All right, I'll go last. So I was actually unsure because when I played through this game, I wasn't feeling it, but it wasn't the game's fault. It was just, one aspect of this show is sometimes you got to play games that you just aren't in the mood for. Like you got to play a horror game and you just don't want to play a horror game. And that's kind of how I felt. Like I didn't really want to play Resident Evil 4. I just wasn't in the mood for this game, but I still had fun, even though I was playing on New Game Plus and I cheesed the village and I cheesed the castle in the game. Cheesed me later on because I'll get my ass handed to me in the island. But it's still really good. It's going on the shelf. It's still an amazing game. Still great. And someday I'll play it again, I'm sure. On my Xbox X at some point or PS5. I'll play it again.
Oh, yeah. This is a game I play every 18 months. Just it calls to me and it's like, hey, you should play like 30 minutes of the opening act. And then like 2 weeks later, like, oh, should I beat it again?
Just happens.
Yeah. So how'd that happen?
All right. So that about wraps up the main part of the show because we've been going for like 2.5 hours right now. So first I want to introduce what we're talking about next week, which is not my pick. It's actually Mike's pick, but he's not here tonight, but he'll be here next week. We are going to be covering the well-known, famous, rare title, Cameo, The Elements of Power for the Xbox 360.
It's a good game.
Launch game, too.
Yeah, I just started playing it. I'm not so sure yet how I feel, but we'll see. We'll give it a try and see what I think. So you can hear about that next week.
Well, Rare makes nothing but quality games, especially for the Xbox.
Still remains one of the Xbox 360's finest video games.
One of the only launch games.
Yes.
Wasn't Condemned a launch game?
Yes.
Condemned's great.
Probably the best one.
Where is Condemned 3? Where's Condemned 3, Michael?
It's missing.
It would be nice to see where's Cameo 2.
We don't need that.
So, and before and if you like this episode, I do want to say we have covered lots of other Resident Evil games. We did Resident Evil 2 Remake in episode 94, Resident Evil Outbreak, episode 73, Resident Evil Dead Aim, episode 70, Resident Evil 3,
only the good ones,
Nemesis, 63, Resident Evil Degeneration, the film 4, Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, episode 37, Resident Evil, the 2002 Remake, 33, and the first Resident Evil game we covered on the show, Resident Evil 2, the 98 version on episode 9.
Gotta get the Code Veronica playthrough going next.
I don't want to play that though.
That's good.
Gotta play 5. 5 is fun. There are crocodiles in it, and as you can see, I have a croc right there on my arm. You can see in the webcam, so that's why that was my favorite.
The funny thing is, the first time we actually one of the few times we have webcam on the show.
Yeah,
this is gonna play.
We're all sitting on a UNSC. Everyone else sees that, right? Or is it just me?
Yeah, no. Okay. I can see that. That is hilarious. I was wondering what UNSC actually stood for.
It's Halo. I forget what it stands for. I should know, but it's Halo. I can tell you that much. All right. And then, Nick, you said you wanted to plug your Instagram account?
I do. I cook food, and my Instagram is fingerjellyandnick.
Okay.
That's it.
I'll follow you after this.
Yes.
And Cody, where can people find you?
You can find me on just about anything at Cajun Crippler. All one word. You can find me mainly because I am sort of laying low on a lot of social medias. You can find me on TikTok once in a while. I play around with that, but my main thing is YouTube. I'm making a video about Las Vegas. The current thing that I'm working on now is I did a little bit of a documentary. I started at the Mandalay Bay, and I walked the entire length of the Las Vegas Strip all the way to the Stratosphere in 24 hours. And I got a chip from every single place on the Strip. I made it with my very good friend Mike, who lives there, and it's a little mini doc about the Las Vegas Strip. So check that out. I will sing in Spanish at some point during that film. Watching me lose a lot of money. That'll be coming to my YouTube channel here in the next month or so. We are editing that really quick. So just check me out there. Search for my name. Do not search the guy with dreadlocks. If you see him, downvote all of his stuff. He is a very bad man. I am the one and only Cody Laveau.
Every time you mention him, too.
That guy sucks. I will fight him for my name. I was Cody Laveau first, and I actually kind of ruined his SEO, so he's changed his name to Cody Saint Laveau. I am still offering to do an MMA fight versus this guy. And winner gets to keep the name.
Is he a singer or something then?
Yeah, he's like a really terrible, I think, like nu metal singer.
He sounds like an asshole. I don't like him.
He is. He's a white guy with like blonde dreadlocks, and he has a lot of really problematic opinions. I will leave it at that. And I would totally fight that guy. And loser has to change
the name.
Yep, I would absolutely do it.
Okay. And Blake, you don't have anything to plug, do you?
No. Okay. You might bump into me at the gas station.
I watched the entire Overload.
That's how you would see me. Yeah, I'm in there from time to time.
Which stall in the gas station?
I'm just happy to be here. The one with the hole cut into it.
All right. And before we go, I do want to mention a couple things. One, I want to give a shout out for awesome intro and outro, courtesy Bobby, a.k.a. Mike Storm, ZP Bite Book, the song The Cool Kid Squad. You will see a link in the show notes to his YouTube channel. And also, Bill Tucker, friend of the show, who's on the MCU or co-host of the show sometimes, he has his podcast, The Gamer Looks at 40, is live. So go look that up. You will see a link in the show notes to his show. It's much different than this, but it's kind of like, it's definitely good. So go look at that. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube. And please follow our Patreon. Throw us $1. You can vote in the Patreon poll that's coming up that I mentioned earlier at the top of the show. If you haven't done it, go do it. It's for $1, and then you can vote. So right now we have 3-way tie. We need to change that. I don't want a 3-way tie because then I got to vote and I choose what I do myself. So it defeats the purpose of this. So somebody vote. And I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Stay cool, kids.
Bye.